Hello, my friends. I've been really looking forward to catching up with you all. I want to see you all and find out how you're doing. So how is everybody? Let me know how you're all getting along, because I want to know. I see that the prices today have been going down a little bit in the old Bitcoin. How's that treating you? Are you panicking? Today's episode I have called The Weekend. It's a bit of a pun in there, W-E-A-K, end. And we can see that we're coming towards the end of the week and we're seeing a bit of weakness across various markets today. So let's check in on all of that. What we'll be doing is taking a look at Bitcoin and all of its relevant TA, and as well we'll be taking a look at Ethereum, Chainlink and Tezos, and suggested coins from you all in the audience. And I'm looking forward to doing it all. Thank you so much for joining me, to everybody that is in the video live stream already. If you're just joining along here, it'd be great if you hit that like button and everything else, and I'll see you in the chat in a wee bitty. But you can see up here in the background, I already have the Bitcoin 24-hour chart open, the BTC US to the USD. Oh, here's some weird noise outside. Ooh, crazy noises happening outside. Maybe they've been experiencing some drawdown on their account today. Anyway, I've got a couple of crazy looking indicators here in the chart, and I just added this. I added this today here. This is the what do you call this guy again? The Hull Suite by Insilico, and it just puts a Hull moving average on the chart and puts it with a bit of a band. You can choose different levels and whatnot, and I thought it looked kind of nice in a way, and it would be nice to have it on the chart. As I can see that my axis is all wrong here on this one. Why is this? Merge all into one on the right. That's what we want. Great, nice one. So yeah, I have this band on the chart and it gives us a nice indication of trend. I'm just going to hide all the drawings here, and so you can see it a bit easier. Bring up full screen and you can see, just looking back, the way how this thing has shown us, whether or not we're in a bull or a bear market. I think that's actually maybe a little bit of an over-reductionist way of saying it. It'd be handier if there was 3 colors on this, in my opinion. Green for going up, red for going down, and like orange or something for sideways. Anyway, you can kind of see that it works to an extent. Obviously, this, in a sense here over on the 23rd of May, was kind of like a bit of a false signal. I mean, it wasn't really, because the prices did drop from 9,000 down the following day to 8,600, giving you, a chunk of retracement there, 5% or whatever, but very rapidly turned against you there on the charts. And as you can see over here as well, it wasn't much of a downward trend that we had between the 11th of June and the 8th of July. Although, again, you went from 9,900 or so when it flicked red down to lows around about 9,000. So you're looking at a $900 drop off. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on this thing. Over here, you can see a much more beautiful example where we had the head and shoulders come in. It told you to go short over here, and then we saw the prices rise up, touch the band, and then we dropped towards the downside there afterwards. Anyway, that's what we've got on the chart at the minute. And then there's this other line here, this white line. And what is that, you're asking? Well, that's a Hull moving average, and I thought we would, try out a couple of different numbers today with the Hull moving average, just to see how we feel that it goes. Now, there was somebody in the chat yesterday was talking about the Hull moving averages, so if you come back in here, then let me know. I can't remember who it was that said it though, so I want to catch up with whoever that was, because that's what I've been thinking about today. I wanted to find out what it was they were asking and what numbers they wanted to look at. So cool, nice use of emojis, says TradeSpotting in the chat. Good to see you, TradeSpotting. Thanks so much for joining us. And we have fire emoji being put in there by Creole. Good to have you, Creole. That's nice to see you here. Are you a subscriber? Let me know if you're a subscriber. If you are not one, then hit that button, and come back. Oh, great to see you, Horn Hunter. What's up, TradeSpotting? What's up, Rocky? It's good to have you here, buddy. How are you doing? Is there any Wheel of Time news that you want to tell me about? I occasionally do look on YouTube for the updates and watch videos by, what do we have, a guy called Nablus, and we also have like Daniel Green and other folk out there in the Wheel of Time community. I often think to myself I might set up a Wheel of Time YouTube channel, by the way, to talk about the upcoming television show and the books. Anyway, don't want to get too nerdy on it, but there you go. RT Pyle, good to see you. Hello, Trisbon. Hello, Rocky. Hiya, RT. Good to have you. Simal Goncalves. By the way, you're going to have to tell me if it's a soft C. I see it's got that little thing underneath it, that like you have in French. Is it Gonçalves or Gonçalves? I don't know. Anyway, Simao, I can say that part. 100. Nice to have you here. Great to have everybody here. It's nice. It's a nice part of my day, you know, to be honest with you. I look forward to coming in here and catching up with you all, finding out how you're all doing. So it's good to have you here, and it's lovely to see you all. And what are we talking about today? Just another recap of what we're talking about today before we kind of start talking about the actual, you know, stop being so meta, is we're talking about the weakness that's in the market right now. Now, is that fair for me to be calling it that? I really can't subscribe to that notion, to be perfectly honest with you. We've got a bit of a red doji candle, and I thought, well, that's enough to be going on with this, to say that it's weakness that's happening in here. Anyway, we can see with regards to this Hull moving average, when I've got it set to 13 periods just now, that of course we're moving towards the top side. And with the way that you use these things is you look at the slope. We're not going to look too much at crossovers or whatever. At least Mr. Hull himself didn't think that was what you were supposed to, what he designed it for. Instead, he just wanted to look at it as a trend indicator. However, I think I might add an extra Hull moving average on the chart there and create a little crossover thing in that sense. So I wonder what numbers people would like to use. Now, the out of the box type numbers that you get with this thing are like 55. As you can see now, that makes it line up, you know, perfectly bang on with that band that I put on here. Unfortunately now, of course, they line up on top of each other, so I can't change the number. Yeah, so you can see this lines up with that band. I'll just make it nice and big and thick so you can see the white line. So that's it set to 55. You can also set it to 200, for example, as another example, you know. And you can see here you get a much smoother moving average than you do whenever you employ something like the 200 simple moving average. Just for the sake of comparison's sake, how about I stick that on as well so we can see it. Take off all the other ones. I suppose I'll make this not white so you can tell the difference. Put on the yellow, put on as yellow, go OK, and make it visible. So there's the 200 simple moving average there. That's 200 simple. There's your Hull moving average. Would you like to see what it's like if it was compared to a 200 period exponential moving average? Let's stick that on. I'll just rob this green box for that one. No, I'll not rob the green box. What one will we rob the blue box for this one? Stick on a 200 period exponential moving average here. So you can see how that looks. You have those down there. So you can see there's a vast difference between them. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of the calculations of these things today, but as you can see, there's a vast difference between the positioning of those moving averages and the Hull moving average. So what do we have then with regards to just, you know, these as a simple starting point? Well, we're very much in uptrend all round, and as a result of the prices crossing back over here towards the top side of the Hull moving band that I've got drawn on here, you can see that of course it flicked from being red just temporarily to being back to being green again, indicating that there's a slight downward slope before it recovered and moved towards the top side. And that's kind of interesting, you know, that we're going into this weekend with a degree of potential weakness, and then it would be nice to check out the what do you call them, the CME close as well coming up here. When's the CME closing? What time is it now? It's about 20 to quarter to 9, so the CMEs will close in an hour or two. Ideally I'd be off the stream by the time that happened, but you never know, might still be here kicking about. All good, bro. Sunny day. What about you? Says Simal. Says Simal. Yeah, it wasn't so sunny, but it was warmer here. Much warmer today than it has been in recent days. So that's really cool. Nice to have you here, BK. It's good to have you, Billy King. Nice to see you again. Hi, Rocky says. Nice to see you, Billy. You know, I already said this, but I can't help but seeing it every time. You know, you come in BK, I read Burger King, and that's a compliment, okay? Because I'm much more of a Burger King man myself than a McDonald's man, and I know that that's obviously, you know, sounds terrible to some people, and it's like one of these things, isn't it? Or are you a cat man or a dog man? Are you a Burger King man or a McDonald's man? Well, I'm a Burger King man, so I like seeing you coming in here. It's nice to have the king with us, Billy King. All is well here, Tradespot. How about you, says Artie Pyle. And there you go, there you have it, the community in effect. Lovely, lovely stuff. I saw in the Discord as well, just before going live here, that Tradespot put in a comment saying we're going to have to arrange a time for that drinking stream. Well, I am going to subject my body to the toxicity of alcohol. If you think that sounds like a good idea, then let's try and come up with an idea, a time for when to do that. Now, I suppose Friday would be the ideal day to do it, but I don't have any booze lying around. Well, I have some vodka. I'm not really wanting to drink straight vodka on the stream here. I could, but I'm not going to rush into doing that. Yeah, we need to come up with a time for when we'll all get drunk together. Now, of course, I stream Monday to Friday, so that's working. You know, those are all school nights. Maybe I need to do an additional stream, a sort of party stream over the weekend or something like that, where we can all enjoy getting a bit smashed, a bit blotto together. Well, I say all of us, but of course, apart from Lee. Sorry, Lee, if you join us here today, and if you're watching right now, Lee Chinnick, our Australian friend, because of course he'll be, you know, it'll be Sunday morning when we're all sat there getting drunk, and he'll be having to go off and you know, do family Sunday stuff. Nice to see you chatting. Yeah, Burger King IPO was awesome long. Airbnb was an awesome short. Looking at Doordash next, looks good for a short in my opinion. Well, with all these companies, by the way, they have, of course, never made a profit. Uber Eats, all the rest of them, they've never made a profit. So, you know, that's one of those ones, oh, how's it going to go? The fundamentals, if you like, in terms of the company are all to do with growth, you know, rather than how much money it makes, because it doesn't make money, it loses money. So it's kind of that Spotify business model, fake it till you make it, if you like, just keep on bringing in new investment. Oh, Lee, nice to see you here. Yeah. So it's Saturday morning over where you are already, so any sort of drinking stream might not be something. But then again, if you fancy having an afternoon on Sunday completely blotto, then let me know. And of course, you're in Australia, so that's not bad form over there. Everybody likes to get pissed on a Sunday from time to time over in Australia, right? Cool. Anyway, we're sat here with a dodgy looking dodgy doji on the candles for right now. And as we jump down a time frame to the 4 hour time frame, you can see we've had this little bit of downward price action. It's the first time we've had any downward price action in so long. Well, not really, but looking back over here to the sort of what do you call it, the 7th up until the 11th of December. Now we're into the sort of the this period here where we're sort of struggling slightly with regards to the price. Now, what does this actually look like? Now, of course, I have a scary looking title on the video for today. That's of course just to attract people's eyeballs. There is, of course, the potential that we see this weekend relief coming in, and I think that's probably something that I'll spend a fair amount of time kind of reminding people about in today's episode, that weekend relief concept that I talk about from time to time. Anyway, let me just hide off this crap that we have on here for now. I'll leave the Hull moving average on, I suppose, since we're doing a Hull episode today. You can see that we're very much going towards the top side in terms of the way that this is sloping, and of course that's the good thing. And let's then remember that a movement like this, after an extended move towards the top side, where you see this type of thing, is typically recognized as being a bull flag. Are we flagging here just now with this movement on the charts, and how long will a bull flag last for? Well, we can actually take a little bit more of an in-depth look at this thing by going down at another time frame, just so we can more clearly see the shape of it. And what we do, we have a high here, a low here, a lower high here, a lower low there, and that of course is typical of bull flag. So what will we have? Could we even see a bull flag over the weekend, offering up a touch of that old weekend relief for the shorty side people this time? Could that be a possibility? Well, it could be overall, in the sense of looking at the CME charts then as well. How are we coming into this end of the day, and then of course leaving us off for the weekend to struggle on our own? How are we doing? Here you can see we've got this downward sloping. Let me just hide the gosh forsaken Hull moving average there. Yeah, we have this downward movement here as well. Same sort of bull flag. Obviously, the price chart following each other, but this is what we're looking at on the way into the weekend. Let's put a little sprinkling of context for the world in there, and I suppose in a lot of ways you can look at the world of stonks, for instance, is giving you that sort of fundamentals for the world of Bitcoin. Nice day actually overall. Well, nice hour, sorry. Crappy day. Well, let me make up to the 24 hours. crappy day on the DJI, but at least towards the end of the trading session, we're seeing the upward movement. As you can see, there's just kind of pumping up towards the end of the day to come in with that sort of dissatisfactory end to it. And as I scroll back the way, you can quite clearly see, although it doesn't want to load up, oh, it does, it has loaded it up there. You can see that this area above the gap that we're in terms of the Dow Jones Industrial Average has, of course, got this clear looking wedge structure to it, doesn't it? It looks pretty obvious that there's some sort of wedge structure here. Now, whether or not this actually plays out is, of course, any man's guess, but if it were to play out and you're looking at a downward move, then of course that takes you into coming around about the area where you'd be filling in this gap, or at least we'd be into the gap area, thinking about how we handle things if we were to see a pullback. Now, could that be, what would you want to see if you were looking for a pullback at the start of next week going into Friday? And I said on the Discord, having a bad appetite on Friday doesn't bode well for that Sunday family dinner, does it? So maybe this is the sort of thing that you'd want to see running into the end of the week if you're looking for a bit of a pullback and wonder what sort of pullbacks we could see during the start of the next few days. It's a wonderful time of year. It is a wonderful time of year. It really is. Nice to have you here, by the way, Sean Thomas. Nice to have you here, Patrick Pellegrino, as well. If anybody joins along here and I don't give them a shout out, be sure to be welcoming and friendly in the community, because I never want anyone to feel left out. So it's that wonderful time of year when you kind of between the period of 2008 to 2018, various times throughout that chunk of time, we saw coming into Christmas companies going bust in the run into Christmas. You remember these things happening. I mean, what are notable examples? I'm finding I've got a bit of a struggle to come up. You'll probably in the chat there, a few of you will probably be able to come up with some examples of companies that went completely bust in the run up to Christmas. And we know what it's like. They say, oh, we had a slightly disappointing Black Friday sale, and we were really hoping that would be the case, and we thought we might be able to make it through to Christmas and everything else, but unfortunately we're going to have to close our doors, sack all our staff, and we can't even stay alive for another week, which would be our best sales week of the entire year. And that happens from time to time, and that's great. I love that myself coming up to Christmas. There's nothing better than seeing, of course, an entire company go down the drains and give you that wonderful Christmas feeling. And and the economy's gone completely to crap. Do you want to guess? Do you know what the population of the UK is for everybody around the world? Let's just say rough figures, 60 million. Do you know how many people are only in employment right now in the UK because of the government furlough scheme? Otherwise they would be redundant or not getting paid. Whether or not they got a job. Can you guess? Out of the population of 60 million, what do you think could be? Let's just look at that, whether we squint first off and say, well, if there's 60 million people in the UK and 10% of them would be a shocking figure for it to be in that situation. Given that there actually is a huge unemployment figure in the UK anyway who aren't receiving furlough payments, what would it be? Well, it's 9 million. That's right, 15% of the UK population only has a job right now because the government have borrowed $49 billion or pounds, 49 billion pounds, like $70 billion in order to pay their wages going forwards. What do you think that sounds like? Does that sound like a nice Christmas for anybody right now? No, it doesn't. Meanwhile, over here in cryptocurrency land, we're laughing our faces off at seeing the prices of these things going up and up and up. And while the world goes down and down and down in flames. Anyway, how else have we seen the days closing here? Let's just have a wee quick look at the SPY. Of course, nice bit of a movement up towards the end of the day here, but the overall day picture is a bit of a negative one, with this feature due to this candle here making it look more wedgy, just like the Dow did. But of course, whatever. This is obviously bullish, by the way, just so that people know. Of course, the pattern itself is bearish, but the price action we've seen here is very much towards the top side. Let me just bring on the old Hull moving average there so you can say that for us. Look, there you go, pointing towards the top side. Maybe it's better to have the more visual looking one on here instead and say, look at this is obviously still very bullish. Now, of course, we are positioned in terms of stonks to see a turnaround in prices while this is above the price action and then turns red. And of course, that's your ideal time for taking shorts, as opposed to when the price action is above the the band here, and it's red, as you can see just there, so we gapped up, it was red. You could have thought maybe we'll come back down and fill that gap, but instead we just kept going on, and of course we were above the price action over there, and we turned green when we were below the price action, or we turned red when we were below the price action over there. So that's sort of idea on the go. Now right now we're in a position where if we opened up next week with a crappy week, it would be primed for going down the way. So that's what we have in store for us in that lovely Christmas period. I'm looking forward to seeing the reports coming out from all the different companies over the next wee while, telling us their earnings during this last wee while. Have you heard that makeup companies are struggling at the minute because people, primarily I suppose people who identify as being women, I guess, but I don't want to be sexist because men wear makeup these days too, are not buying makeup because they're not going out as much. And you might have noticed as well that there's probably on your own face a little bit more stubble than there has been compared to previous years. I wonder if shaving companies are experiencing the same sort of problems. Anyway, overall we're obviously in the bullish world. Everything's bullish. Let's just be real about things. Everything's totally bullish and fantastic and couldn't be better in any way whatsoever, at all whatsoever. Nothing could be better about what we're seeing at all in any way, because we have a bull flag, and the bull flag would give us a measured move. So let's just go do that measured move just now, and then we can go and check in with the other charts and all the rest of it. Victoria's Secret is teetering, says somebody. Cool, nice one. Sean Thomas came in here and said, glad to have made another live stream. Always look forward to these, and not just for educational reasons, but cause when there's things not understood, you have a wonderful way to break things down for most. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that, Sean. I really appreciate that. I really do. And you know what, as well, I said it, you might have been just before you tuned in, I said I really look forward to these live streams myself, because it's an opportunity for us to all interface and to get to chat and to me to find out how you're doing and all that stuff, and to keep in touch with everybody. So it's quality. Well, Sunday sesh is never a bad idea, says Lee. Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. What do you think? Let me know. Geez, I want to get drunk tomorrow night, and we could do a get drunk live stream, I suppose, and look at some Bitcoin weekend action or something like that. Okay, so cool. What do we want to do? We wanted to do Bitcoin USD. If this is a bull flag on the whatever, small time frames. Let me just hide all that crap off again. And do a measured sort of move. What could we do is is measure the distance down here to where the flagpole kind of comes to its end up here, and do on that sort of a basis, so that we can be, take the more elaborate bull. If I put it up a time frame, will I get an even bigger pole? Yeah. So I'm looking for movements below, but from 19,285, and the top of that came in at around about, let's just use the bodies just for whatever, 23,340. So that's 19.3 to 23.3, so that's $4,000. So if we did see a movement up off the back of this bull flag, and it just kind of did this as a half staff effort and went towards the top side, then we'd be looking up, of course, from around about these areas up another $4,000. So it takes you up to that $26,000 target. That's cool. That's interesting to see. I could draw all that on there for us, but we don't need to have it drawn on. You don't need to have it drawn on. If you're just going to talk about these things as a general idea, then we could be looking up to $26,000. Okay, that's your bull scenario. The bear scenario is also fairly simple, I suppose, really, in that we have this low and this higher low and all this sort of stuff on the run up towards where we broke out. Of course, by all this sort of stuff, I mean like ascending triangles, etc., as you can see. And if we were to come back down into this zone here, where we have this, where the top end of the ascending triangle was, of course, going down past this green line at that 19,000 area, very much would be negative for us. And taking out this whole zone between the green line and this blue line would be much worse. But again, all of that's bearable. In fact, everything is bearable until we go down past this second orange line in here at 17,655. So if we do see some negativity over the weekend, what am I looking to happen? Well, I want the price to stay above 21,800 during the weekend. Otherwise, we're probably probably putting ourselves in line for a gap on the 24-hour time frame towards the downside. Not that gaps have meant anything for the last 6 months. I want to hide this band again. Yeah, not that gaps on the CMEs have meant anything for the last 6 months, but if we did see the prices going down towards the 21k area here, then what would that take us down? It would take us down below this white line that we have on the chart. So we can review what that white line is structurally to find out what that would mean if we went down below that area. And we had these highs in here and we pushed up above it. So if we were to come down and retest this area in the 21Ks, etc., that would be okay, because we broke past this. Now I know that this isn't drawn in exactly. I was hoping if I turned it to linear it would suddenly get lined up a little bit nicer, but it didn't. And it won't. But anyway, going down past that area is obviously going to be structurally something to look to, so in terms of going down past the high. But going down past previous highs is much less significant than going down past previous lows, because we've put in the high and we're looking at the minute to say, are we going to put in a higher low? And what have the higher lows looked like so far in terms of retracements down towards them? Well, we've got a few higher lows that we can look to. This area up here where we're at 12 grand, we dropped down to 9 grand, so that was 3 grand off the price. Up here when we were at 20 grand and up here when we were at 20-ish grand and we dropped down to 16.5 grand, well, that was another 3 grand off the price there. And then of course we did another 20,500 down to 17,500, so another 3 grand off the price there. We're currently in around about 22,845, so if we did chop another 3 grand off the price at any given time from that 22,000 area, that would take us down towards the 19,000s and put us in line for really trying to do a couple of things here which could get a little bit sort of tasty, but of course I wouldn't get too carried away with anything in terms of planning for movements past that. I'm just saying, if we see ourselves actually breaking down below 19,000 this weekend, then things would be cray in the crypto market. So that's essentially what we don't want to see. So this could be our sort of real klaxon level, our alarm bell level. Okay, this can be the time where we say it's time to get the brown trousers out, ladies and gentlemen. At this level here, around about the 21k, 21,500, whatever, come down and test any of these levels, or for instance 21,233 would be, if I had to, if you wanted me to get the super cool price number exactly on, that's what I'd probably go for. But I don't do that anyway, that's kind of silly. But if we were to do that, then we'd be looking down and just testing this general line that we're at before, and that's kind of okay as well. And there's various other things that we should probably look to for like over the weekend type chat. And I'm going to use exponential moving average, I think, for this discussion. Or would I want to do that? I don't know. Yeah. So just keeping things nice and simple in terms of the 24-hour time frame. If we come down towards the to between these two areas and we're looking for somewhere to kind of find our feet in at, then maybe it'll be this yellow line. Let's just do the quick comparison back again and say, how well has this yellow line performed, and maybe choose a different number for it so that we can catch the lows on it. Now this isn't I normally have a bunch of moving averages on the screen and whatever else, and then you look between them and whatever. What I'm going to do just now here is just for the crack, just to demonstrate things, I'm going to move this moving average here in terms of the number that it uses. I'm going to change it to go up and up and up, and as you see, as I go up and up and up, it moves down and down and down. And what I want to find out is at what number on the 24-hour time frame will we find this moving average catch the lows on the price. And then I'm on the CME charts. I'm going to dive back over to the spot prices and see if we catch the lows here at the same level. So we're coming up to a number that we normally use. As you see, 18 here, and we just caught this one, but we didn't catch the next one really properly. In fact, the number that sort of is being used more often than any other number on the channel in terms of an exponential moving average for coming down to revisit it is the 21 EMA. For people who are interested, Peter Brandt, for instance, uses 18. Numerous people across time use different numbers and all the rest of it. I like to use 21. I talked about it various times in life. So going back the way, obviously we didn't catch this. There isn't going to be a moving average that's so tight to the prices that we catch that drop down just there, but we can see that we caught it there and we caught it there. So where does that come in at if we were to come in for another low right now? Currently that's down here at this 19,250 area, and as you see, that puts us in right in line with filling in that gap, but wouldn't necessarily have to do it. And we remember what that's like from the past when we've come down here and come right up towards a gap that was on the CME charts and then didn't actually fill fill it. By the way, there's different ways of looking at that gap that's just there, but if you want to say that it's filled, it's just, patently inaccurate. I'm sorry to say so. It just isn't. It's just not accurate to say that that gap's been filled, and people do talk about it like it's been filled. Whatever, I think everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and moreover, I think it's a good idea that they express them and all the rest of it. So it's not like a big deal or anything. It's inaccurate to say that that gap has been filled. It just is. But people have been saying that. There's various other gaps as well that you could look to and whatever that are more debatable than that one, but that's the clear one. So could we come down here theoretically, touch off of this moving average, perhaps fill in this gap with a wick and come back up and find support, or indeed just not bother filling it in? Yeah, of course we could. That's maybe a moving average to keep our eye out for if we're going to be trading this in the near term. If we're going to be trading this. So yeah, if of course every single person who watches this channel more or less will have some activity when it comes to trading. But the 21 EMA, as you can see, the 21 EMA, it's nothing special. I didn't invent the thing, but or whatever. It's got a fairly decent hit rate when it comes to retracements coming back down and touching it, as you can see here. Back in the run up that we had in 2019, came back down, touched it on the April, came back down, touched it in May, came back down, touched it in July, etc., before then properly breaking it. So if we were to do something like that, that may be what I'd be looking to. So that's where we are at the minute. I'm going to catch up with everybody in the chat as well. I'm going to spend more time chatting in this episode and less time analysing yesterday's episode. If you are wanting to really drill down into deep details about things, then yesterday's episode is wonderful for that. And there's a lot of detail on there for a number of different things. Of course, the coins that we look at in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos, they're all covered in extreme detail. So when I go through these, I can do it a little bit more light, LITE style. But as well, if you really want to know about the idea of what sort of ideas you would need to employ from a technical analysis point of view in order to establish where a reversal or a pullback could happen while you're trending heavily in one direction, as well indeed in the all-time highs area, then I go into that in great detail during yesterday's episode. It's a great watch, I think probably, touch wood or whatever. Danny Morgan, yo, says Danny. Good to have you here, Danny. Lovely to see you all. By the way, if everybody who's joined was to hit that like button, then it would send a tingle of satisfaction up my spine. I'm only saying that because I needed to sort my seat out as I was speaking. I've got an itchy back as well. Talking about it didn't solve the problem. Yeah, that's cool. That's what we're looking at there with that one. Let's come back to this and we'll spend the majority of time looking at Bitcoin throughout the episode, but we'll go and cover the alts that we're being talking about, that we do. Okay, let's go with the number one alt, Ethereum. Now, in yesterday's episode, of course, going to try and keep things along these lines where I talk about what we talked about in the previous technical analysis, and does it make sense and is it still applicable, etc. And as you can see here, the analysis from yesterday, which is available still on my channel if you want to watch it, is still remains the case. Now, we did see a couple of movements up here, but we didn't actually break out. Let's sanitize that, or by putting the volume back on and seeing that while we did have movements up this at this area, we weren't doing anything better than we had in the previous volume zones. In fact, we did less volume, and maybe overall the average in terms of the volume could be debated. You could say that it's actually slightly lower. How about we don't debate this, instead we just put moving average on here, make it nice and bright so people can see it, make it a bit thicker and all the rest of it. So you've got the moving average. Now, when it comes to moving averages, by the way, the thing that people don't really tend to talk about that much, but is actually the real core part of all moving average type technical analysis, is to do with slope, which is why as well I was quite clear about that with regards to the whole moving average earlier on. Now, of course, there are particular moving average strategies where you look at crosses and everything else, but the important part with moving average is slope, as we all know now globally from having watched the pandemic reports, depending on what your own particular government has been doing to show you that. In the UK, we talk about the rolling weekly average, so that's what we like to call a moving average in the UK, a rolling average. So the weekly rolling average for the pandemic numbers are awful, with currently more than 1 in 95 people in England currently actually right now actively suffering from the virus. There's places as well where they're encouraging people to go along and get tested even if they don't have symptoms, because it's just got that bad. Wow. So that's where we are right now, and of course we've seen those charts with their weekly rolling average, and we're back up there with the worst it's been since March, currently on the run-in to Christmas in a lockdown period. period where you're not where we decided that we're going to let people mix a number of 3 houses, 3 homes can mix together during Christmas, while of course the majority of the country is under level 3 lockdown. Interesting times. We're living through these interesting... This is remarkable stuff. We'll all be able to look back in the future and say, do you remember when? And we will remember when. We'll remember all of these pandemic times, and it's worth bearing in mind then. Of course, as well, this is a great lesson for everybody when it comes to technical analysis or trading or anything in general about the world and how we can react during it. Now, from a fundamental standpoint, I think it's quite obvious from the chat that I've already had today, so far in this episode, that fundamentally the economies are completely and absolutely devastated all around the world on a fundamental level. And we continually putting in all-time highs right now on the charts. So... fundamentals are better for long-term analysis, right? That's just simply it. They're better for long-term analysis, which obviously means in a sense that if you're going to be really focused on fundamentals, not technicals, and trading. I like the people out there, like that Anton guy that talks from the Institute of Trading. For instance, he likes to talk. A lot of people like to talk about the 80-20 split when it comes to fundamentals to technicals. Well, fundamentals are great if you're able to do to stay in a market that's moving against you, because fundamentally you think it should be going towards the top side or the downside, depending on your position. And then, of course, that means that it works best in a world where you don't use stops, like in portfolio management, asset management, hedge funds, fund management, investment funds, institutional funds, pension funds. All these things that you've heard about tend to operate along the lines of not using stops. They're not like a stop loss trader, but actually they have decoupled or uncorrelated assets, and they try to basically maintain wealth. Essentially, what you're looking for is to keep yourself and your win rate in and around about just ahead of inflation. If you do that, then you're considered to be really good. That's all that matters, and those people are most interested in fundamentals. But of course, as traders, it's harder for us to be super interested in them, because we need to decide when the world really ought to be completely catastrophic and the worst economic situation we've seen in over 100 years. It really ought to be the worst, possibly the worst one ever. It's not happening right now, right? So how does that help you trade? Not much. Cool. Anyway, nice to see the chat. It's all flying in there in the background as well, with people saying hello to each other and whatnot. Nice to see you here, Navanethan. Howdy everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day, says Navanethan there. It's great to see you here, buddy. And I totally believe this vaccine is 100% safe for everybody to take, so everybody should go ahead and get it. I'll just wait and see how that goes. Says Tradespawn. Yeah, me too. I think everybody else should go ahead and try that themselves. Have you heard about this long COVID thing? In the UK, we're talking about long COVID at the minute. Have you heard that around the world? Long COVID, where you suffer from COVID effects for 3 months or so, at least, kind of sort of to be long COVID after or whatever. There was an article in the news earlier on about a lady who has suffered damage to her spine as a result, or spinal cord as a result of of having COVID, and has got now reduced movement and everything else. And this is a 38-year-old female doctor who in other aspects of life is an extremely healthy person, and obviously is a doctor. They know what they're doing and stuff like that. It's not, this isn't what do you call it, like that thing where you think you're sick when you aren't. It's not that thing. She's a doctor, and she's really really suffering from it, and she's just like thousands upon thousands of other people. So there's another good thing, a little can to kick down the road for us all to enjoy come 2021. So is that what we're doing right now? Are we kicking cans down the road and kind of delaying and praying until Christmas? Now, of course, as well, looking back in time, we've got a 4-year cycle idea. So people like to talk about things from that point of view. Sorry, could I just jump back over to Bitcoin real quick, stick on the weekly chart, the monthly chart, the wrong Bitcoin chart, Bitstamp chart. We have this 4-year cycle idea, as you can see, 2012 up to 2016 idea, and then 2016 up to like 2020 or whatever. Those were the halving type times. and 4-year cycle stuff. Now what we see here in terms of we had the halving, then we had the bull run, and then everything ditched down. When did that happen? Well, it happened on Christmas. It actually happened at Christmas time, and then in the other Christmas times what we see is like big boosts up in price. Now over here in 2018 we had a massive downtrend, got to Christmas, jumped up. Same thing could be said with 2019, a big downward trend from July until Christmas, then we jumped up again. Are we going to see a jumping up of the price at Christmas? Well, maybe we will. Maybe we'll go in for a $4,000 move towards the top side based off the back of the bull flag that we saw on the charts earlier on, in the face of all these positive momentum, positive trend identifiers such as these moving averages we've looked at. Maybe that's not in the face of, with these things, giving it that legitimacy. Maybe we see that, maybe we see it happen, then that's cool, and that I think can sit there as our next big target for Bitcoin. Now here, I'm going to do. Did I talk about Ethereum? I did. Yeah, we're in a triangle in Ethereum. I talked about Ethereum. We're in a triangle in Ethereum. If we break out of this thing towards the top side, then we can. Well, let's just stick this on the daily so we can see it better. If we break out this towards the top side, then it's probably fair to look up towards the 786 as a sort of rough eyeball idea on the chart shows you that's where that would take you to. This is logarithmic again, so just a quick explainer. That looks small up there, it looks huge down here. This measuring stick looks really big down there, looks really small up there. It's because this is a logarithmic chart. Okay, so that's how this is the same dollar value, it's just visually smaller because of the percentage difference. Anyway, whatever. So that would take you up to there, bang on for the 786. So the next target towards the top side, let's remain bullish on all this crap for now, shall we, is 786. All we need to see is a nice increase in volume as we properly break up above this area. Looking over to the left as well, let's just follow this price line over. You can see that we're just in amongst this zone where we've had previous price action. This wick down here, wick down here, wick down here. Now we're not quite at it. Maybe 666 is better, but looking at the price today, 664 was where we were as high as. So we're right in there at that zone, 666 down to where we are now. And you can see in here in the past there was a liquidity zone. This is a liquidity zone. This is how you figure out what a liquidity zone is, by the way. If anybody ever talks about liquidity zones, this is how you figure it out. You look back in the past and you find a bit of price action and you stick a box over it and you go, look at that, there's a liquidity zone there, right? That's essentially it. Now of course I sound a little bit disparaging as I talk about it, but that's just for the crack. I want to give everybody the confidence to know that they can do it. But right in here we have that liquidity zone where we're struggling with the prices. So what it's going to take to get through that is an increase in volume regardless of this pattern that we have on the chart. So just hiding off all the drawings and then zooming back out again, it's going to say for us to get through this area, we're going to want to see volume carrying on here and picking us up towards the top side. Obviously overall we've got an upward trend in volume, but we're definitely pointing down the way with regards to this so far. Well, actually just kind of trying to pick itself back up again, but obviously not being so fantastic, not what you want to see when you're breaking out. Of course, it's going to need to go up. Okay, that's what we're looking for. This to go up so that the prices can go up. Otherwise, we're looking, and the bottom end in terms of this rise in this wedge that we've got on the go here, it's probably going to be in around about this 590 area, I suppose, if we're looking at that. So breakdowns over the weekend past 590, with continued volume, bad. Down to 590, and then no breakout, normal. Up to and above 666 with volume, chance of breakout towards the top side. Fake out zone on this one, a little bit harder to identify given the sort of the general lack of immediate price action to look to. But yeah, up towards that 666 area, and then beyond is going to be key for us with volume for the breakout. And then maybe we look up towards, what did I say it was again? Got the drawings on here, 780 as the price for their next target on Ethereum. Okay, so trading within the range right now, still probably, despite the fact that we're looking at a couple of diagonal lines which are worse for support and resistance than horizontal ones. We can say that of course we're right at a horizontal line anyway because of that chat with the 666 that I already put in, the devil's number. And then so it's, your low risk trade at the minute over the period of the weekend probably is going to be down towards that 570 area. Okay, like that's what you're looking at if you want to look at what is the statistical likelihood of this thing. Then again, of course, this is based off of the fact that it's got 2 touches. If you drag it back down a wee bit, you can get 3 touches here, and maybe we do see a breakout towards the top side on this 3rd upside touch of this thing, and maybe that's where we find ourselves going over the weekend. So that's what we're looking for on that one. Let's jump on over to the Tezos and Link. Okay, starting with Link here, 351 is the current price. Oh, a lot of noise on this chart. 351 is the current price. Yesterday's price action, we had that doji, spoke a lot about it. Today, exactly the same scenario. So we're still looking here at the price point at 1353, saying this is where our resistance is. We need to get above it. It's no surprise to me that we're finding ourselves with it coming in here with a bit of volatility in this area. We're not getting a big deal of volume coming in, so it's not volatility which is based on like tons of people buying it and tons of people selling it back down. It's based on a just like somewhat lack of liquidity in this area. So if we did see a bump up in volume, then maybe we could see ourselves pushing past certain price areas in the past. Then if we do go towards the downside, I want to see the 21 EMA obviously work for our benefit. 1280 is the downside target over the weekend if we did have one. Well, actually no, the downside target is going to remain in place as we've seen hit over the last 2 days, of course, in there at 1327. But if you want to trade this kind of beyond that area, you're talking about 1290 and then 1250. And if you're looking towards the top side, it's 1450 is the next target that we really want to hit. Now we did hit that yesterday, but we didn't actually manage to sustain prices up above it. We really need to make it above 1370 to keep going towards the top side. Going to hide that moving average just now and the volume just now, just to try and clear things up a little bit to make things easier. And I'm going to pop the VPVR back on and hide all the drawings as well, so you can see that if we do make it past this zone, if we just zoom out a bit so we've got more price action on here, then the next sort of it just drops off up to this point where it kind of goes particularly more shallow, and that's where we had our previous high at. You can see here, this is one of these interesting dynamics, right? A lot of people talk about the VPVR and say when it goes shallow, it just flings right through that area. That's obviously another reductionist way of looking at things. Let's look at this right now, what's happened. The other day we had a wick that went right up to there and it came in right at this point and then stopped. That's not what that same argument is from the VPVR. How come we had the ability to go up through here where there was previous action, and then when we got to this point it stopped? Well, you see, it's a bit more complicated than just that over reductionist view. You have to look towards these gaps. So that's why I would say, of course, is your next target up there is going to be that 14.4 area where we see it dropping in. If we can push past that, then 15.24 becomes a clear next target, and then the next target after that is 16.57, with each one of these drop off areas telling you where you might actually see the prices stop trading. You might get a reversal. Now if you do push past that zone, you're looking to the next area, so you want to push past that obviously fairly quickly. And how are you going to do that if you do it without any momentum? You do it with divergence and whatever else along the way, not going to be great. What we've done so far is shaking out the divergence, and that would be kind of nice to see, shaking it out. No, we didn't actually have divergence on the way up here towards this high, then we dropped down, putting a lower low than here, but that's not really fair. Lower low than there, that is fair. The potential for this to turn around. So this then it boils back down again, really quite towards this. We need this to break its previous highs. We need it to break its previous highs. We need it to go past into the 14 zone and really establish itself above 1440. And we actually need it to take out 1583. Are we going to do that this weekend? Well, who knows? I don't know. I would like to see positivity in these alti schmalties as the Ethereums and Bitcoin potentially have a little bit more weakness over the weekend with this lack of appetite we're seeing going into the Friday close. Now, obviously, that's just speculative. I'm really looking forward to opening up this can of Iron Brew. But I'm promised myself sort of in silence there in my head that I wouldn't do it until I'd got through the TA. Popping the drawings back on here for Tezos. We're still waiting for any resolution around this potential inverted head and shoulders. It would be nice to see this happen with the potential over the weekend to kind of take everything else by surprise and snap towards the top side and give us a really satisfactory turnaround here in terms of the blows that we've seen coming in on the Tezos Perrin. With this bullish divergence that we're seeing there, the bullish divergence we're seeing on the RSI, the bullish divergence we're seeing on the MACD, all the bullish divergence coming in here at this low, push up here and take everybody by surprise by doing it over the weekend. Wouldn't that be nice? And then if we are looking at the Bitcoin Perrin, of course, we're going to have to take 12,000 as being our next target towards the top side. Easy 20%. Now, I'm not saying it's an easy 20% where you're guaranteed to get it. I'm just saying that if you're looking for a trade up there, then that's then be the numbers you're talking. Again, look, another one of those examples here that I've been trying to show people since I started doing videos on YouTube, because I do is what I used to. I don't anymore. I used to watch videos on YouTube because I love trading, and this is something that I really, I love seeing other people's opinions about stuff and everything else. Nowadays, I don't do the other people's opinion thing because I want this to be pure and audited pure, so everybody knows it's pure and whatever. But I used to, and I know the chat that goes around the VPVR here and how inaccurate it is. And as you can see here, when the prices rose up, we came right up towards the area where it did drop off, and we didn't push on past it. Now, of course, that's FOMO that comes in here. The chat that you'll have with other people on YouTube is, we've come up here, we've done all of the hard work. As soon as we went past 252, which was a big level for us, and that's true. But the question then came, can we actually find that operating as support if we need it to? Because the next part is going to have a little bit of potential indecision for us. That's the actual VPVR chat, and as you can see here, right at this level, we experienced that indeedy doody. So then anyway, there we go. I'm still looking for this to potentially resolve itself towards the top side. We have the kind of the sort of the neckline idea of this thing is coming in right at here, so we need to push past that zone and establish ourselves up there and above this area at 330 sort of or whatever before us to be positive. And of course we have a measured move taking us up towards $3 if we need it from various things here that could see us come out towards satisfying a few elements of that, particularly with regards to taking out this bear flag that we had on the go here. Moved down the way, came up, bear flag, moved on down, got a similar movement here. As you can see, it was 348, went down to these lows at 239, so that's $1. Went up a little bit, came down, then we broke down from 240 all the way down, or broke down from 270 down to 189, so that was 90 cents. So we had a dollar move down, a bear flag, and then 90 cents thereafter. And that's kind of what I was talking about with regards to that potential for us to move up towards 26 grand. Now, what would stop that from happening? Well, a really crap weekend that pushed everything out of that format, so you didn't have a bear flag anymore. Instead, you had a gap on the charts where that bear flag would have been, and the price is going towards the downside on the CMEs. And then and that would be that would be, it wouldn't be a bear flag anymore, right? Or else it still is. So if we operate within a tight range over the period of the weekend and we don't see anything massive happening in either direction, then we're still on for that come Monday. We've made it to the point where I can open up this can. Of course, this is a can of the Scottish beverage Iron Brew, and this is another can from after yesterday's one, so yesterday put me in the mood. Phenomenal, says TradeSpawn. You're absolutely right, that's what that is. Okay, talking a bit, I'm heading to the beginning of the Bitcoin on video. Yeah, cool, nice one. See you in a minute, K-Doc, or when you come back or whatever. Nice to see you here. Shivam is good. I am here. Invest in my altcoin, says Shivam. Nice one. Francisco Javier Nunez. Hi. Thanks for your analysis. Buenas. Gracias para tu análisis. What do you think about Link? ¿Qué piensas sobre Link? It keeps losing value. Está siempre perdiendo sus precio? What's value in Spanish? Relative to Bitcoin. Do you think that the trend will change? Right, well, this is a really interesting concept, and I think a lot of people are thinking about this right now, and we're seeing that in this indecision candle on the USD pricing. Now, the USD pricing is going to be the one that sort of grabs the bull by the ring on its nose, really, for us. But we want to see that moving towards the top side overall, and we have a lot of potential for this to work for us. In terms of the negativity, we also have the potential for this to be ascending, broadening wedge, and for us to snap down the way. Now, if that were to happen, that would be bad, and essentially you'd be wanting it to at least not drop as much as Bitcoin, but you'd be needing Bitcoin to drop, obviously, for that to stop. Now, what we can see here is that we've got this pairing, the Bitcoin Link pairing, and of course we've got these lows on the go here, bringing up the RSI. We can see that this low was lower than the subsequent low. Now, of course, then this third low was lower than the second low. So 1, 2, 3. Number 3 is lower than number 2, so that's not bullishly divergent. But then number 3 is higher than number 1. And looking back the way number 1 comes in here, and then the next low came in here, and it was a little bit like like, you know, this is this will probably show us even clearer if we go up the way. Yeah, I've got up to the bigger time frames. Yeah, it wasn't really bullishly divergent here. For instance, on the 3-day, on the 2-day time frame, it wasn't really bullishly divergent either. So we're not getting like indications in terms of the RSI that that's the case. Now we are in terms of the MACD, right? We are in terms of the MACD 24-hour time frame bullishly divergent as well. And quite often when you see bullish divergence on the MACD, give you a second here for the other Rocky Outcropticians to see if they can guess what I'm about to say. Can you guess what I'm about to say? People sat there at home, what do you often see? I've not said this maybe for like a couple of months now on the channel. What do you often see if you see a divergence on the MACD? Classic divergence on the MACD especially. That's right, you see a wedge on the charts. And what we can see here quite clearly, of course, is we have that wedge on the go on the broad term perspective, as we see down here. And as you can see, when the drawings pop back up, we also have that smaller term time frame wedge down there. If I just jump down towards the small term time frames for us, then how have we been handling it in this area? Well, we kind of broke towards the downside in this rising wedge. In the bearishness, you know, the trend of bearishness continuing here in this format. And that's the problem, you see, and it's not coming from this pair. It's coming from the Bitcoin USD pair and the Link USD pair and the relationships that those two have with this third outcome chart for us. Now, in terms, I've spoken about this yesterday, people, especially like Crown, for instance, Eric Crown, guy who I have a lot of respect for, used to talk about how you'd be better off, what you'd be wanting to do during a bull market is do your technical analysis primarily against Bitcoin, and then, you know, then after look towards the dollar, because you're looking for, because that's where the money is, that's where it's rising at. And I somewhat kind of disagree with that. You know, really over the period of the few years with the bear market, doing your technical analysis against Bitcoin was maybe perhaps better. And here we are in the bull market and we're seeing that disconnect. So if Bitcoin continues to rise towards the top side and it's doing so faster than the link prices, then there's F all anybody can really do about it, and this chart is going to go down. So that's what's happening now. What do we have here? We have this liquidity zone. We saw the prices came right down and kissed the bottom of it nicely here before going towards the top side yet again, and almost recovering, but not quite. That 236, I think, Fibonacci retracement that's on the charts there. Is that 236? Yeah, no, 618, the 618. So we're in the, but you know, not almost recovering, but not quite, but we're in the golden pocket, right? So we're in the golden pocket right now. Where is she? There she is there. Golden pocket on this one's a bit of a beast, to be honest with you, but we're in this zone. We've done the golden pocket. So are we at a point now perhaps where we're able to retrace? Well, yeah, we are, but this is obviously a bit of a failed pattern. Now, have we done the full measured move off the back of it? Well, not quite. The full measured move actually from this internal wedge here in the structure actually takes us down towards, do I want to remove these? I mean, it's a great example for folk. I could publish a trading view idea about this just to educate people, but can you see how a pattern within a pattern can kind of lead your eyeballs to thinking, well, maybe we're coming back down as far as this, and if we do, that'd be the full golden pocket retrace, and we're looking down at 54,000 satoshis, and that's just that. But what was your question again? If it keeps losing value relative to Bitcoin, do you think the trend will change? It keeps losing value. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Do I think the trend will change? Yes, I do think. Yes, I think the trend will change, because the macro trend on this one is towards the top side, and with all of these moves we're not trying to change the trend. However, I need to put a caveat on that. If we actually see this pattern here of the larger wedge fail, and I've got it on the weekly time frame, so there's not a great deal of touches here. I know it doesn't look perfect on this, but I need it on the weekly time frame to be broader about things. If we were to fail this, you know, break towards the downside on this pattern, which you can see, you know, we're in terms of the weekly time frame, we're eager to move up there, but we just don't have it in us to do it. If we were to do it, then you're taking a measured move, something like that, sticking it down here and seeing that we're breaking macro structure, taking out these lows over there, coming in down towards the 24,585 satoshi level, and that would be stinky poo. And of course that would tie in fairly nicely with the $7.28 area if Bitcoin remains above 24 grand, okay, in terms of the maths on that one. But if we don't see that happening, and this is of course a bullish pattern on the price charts, then things would be different. So can I see it turn around? Yes. Do I see it turn around? Yes. I mean, the long term has always been that Link has been better than Bitcoin, you know, in terms of their head to head, really since Link came into existence. So yeah, I'm going to go with a yes on that one. I can see it turn around. I hope that was a nice and informative answer for you, but I don't know. I ask you about the Link BTC pair because I save in BTC. Link has had a very bullish trend in recent years against BTC. Do you think think it will continue. All right, okay, cool. Hopefully, just the difference between the timings of my answer, the live stream being slightly delayed and your question coming in there, hopefully I actually answered that as you were typing it. Let me know if you think. Nice to see you here, Monkey Magic. Nice to see you here, Tal Ha Kutsal. That's definitely one of the more interesting names of the group. Talha, TALHA KUTSAL. That's quality. I've not seen you around before. Are you a subscriber to the channel? Let me know. Are you a member of the Discord community? Have we spoken a million times and I just don't recognize your YouTube username? Let me know. If not, hit that subscribe button. And everybody, welcome Talhal to the crew. And of course, Monkey Magic, it's good to see you again here. And I've not missed anybody so far. I think I've done a good enough job with catching everybody, including Patrick Pellegrino and Danny Morgan as well, of course, as well. I do think so. And I even got Shazam as well in here. Sorry, Shavam. Shazam. No, I got Shavam here as well. Please do TA for BAT. Cool. Okay, Shivam, I'm going to do TA for BAT in this episode. I'll give you a freebie. I'll chuck you a freebie there. Cheers. Only thing missing, a jumbo haggis supper. Oh, that would have been good. With lots and lots and lots of brown sauce. Of course, I'm from Edinburgh, so I eat everything from the chip shop smothered in brown sauce. If K-Doc comes back along and tunes back into this section and starts yapping like a silly Glaswegian about how brown sauce shouldn't be put all over everything, just ignore the guy. Doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, cool. So what did we want to look at here? You wanted to have a quick look at BAT. Let me just indulge. No, wait, did I do Tezos? I did do Tezos technical analysis. By the way, here on Tezos versus Bitcoin, same scenario as what we're looking at with the link pairing. But what I want to show is right now is this massive difference in the two charts. Okay, so you've got link here. Let me just stick this on logarithmic so it's easier to see, right? Going back in time, this is your all-time lows down here versus Bitcoin. Big time different. We're a million miles away from it, and that of course indicates the strength of this trend. Now of course we could as well be looking at a massive broad ascending broadened wedge with potential downside targets. I'm not going to look at that and actually realistically say that we're going to go back down to this zone. There just isn't the price history to say that's a bit preposterous, and I prefer this on linear where this chunk here looks like a parallel channel and then a big breakout from that with a retest of it overall. I mean, I prefer that idea. As you can see, we're kind of retesting and breaking into that channel again. I prefer that than to look at it like this, but that is the case anyway. You can see we're a million miles away from that low over there. Let me just dive on over to the Exponential chart, and what you can see here is that we've come all the way down, almost all the way down to our prior lows. Almost, we're still a significant difference away when you consider this is actually 10,000 satoshis, and I go down a wee bit here and I see that that's 840 or 8,440, so we're still 20% or so away from our lows. Good to have you here, Robert online. Greetings, Rocky. I watch you for Tezos. It's my biggest holding. Quality, nice one. Tezos community are definitely very, very friendly people, so it's great to have you here. Drew's Tech. Good to have you here, buddy, as well. And Scotty Sniper, that's pure Mankey. Of course, what he's talking about, by the way, is putting Scotty Sniper is obviously a Glaswegian as well. Or at least not. Look, brown sauce, right? Salt and salt is look. Don't listen to them. It's really good, especially on haggis. Glaswegians charge you at the chip shop as well for your sauce as well. I mean, that's why Glaswegians don't like the sauce. It's because they're too tight. Yeah, yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. Glaswegians just have to cope. You're just gonna have to live with it. Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? We're really close to these lows. It would be nice to see this trend turning around, wouldn't it? I think Robert online would agree with me with regards to that. It'd be very nice to see this turn around at some point. It's been devastating with its movements towards the downside and incredibly disappointing price action. You can see here as well that the Tezos price action today is actually being green with regards to the USD pricing. Over here, with regards to the Bitcoin pricing, it's been red, jumping over towards the Bitcoin chart itself. You can see that on the day, sorry, that's the weekly chart. Let me just do that again because I fooled myself there for a split second and I don't want to fool anybody else. As you can see here, on the weekly, we've been down versus Bitcoin. We've got this tiny green doji candle for today. Tiny wee one, tiny wee one. can this be the first signs of something turning around? Could be, do we have bullish divergence here? If this is your last low and this is your low here, we don't. But if this is their actual last low, as you can tell from the RSI, this is the actual real last low, and this is where our subsequent lows have come into. It's not been able to push on down any further than this one, but this was like the end of the momentum for people actually trading this versus the Bitcoin parent, in my mind. And what we see in this area here is everybody kind of taking a back seat, and the arbitrage bots doing it, and us waiting for a resolution of this line of last little bit here. If we're going to see something along these lines potentially or whatever, I want to see more happening with positivity on this one. I don't think it would take a great deal of money as well to move the market in terms of like, the grand scheme of things, more money than you or I and the entire community combined would have, obviously. But in terms of the overall market movement, I think that we could be coming in for an end here. If we're not, this then becomes scary, because what you're looking at in that sense is not that dissimilar to all these other charts. Well, not that, these, as I randomly select charts off of this BTC list on Binance, where you've taken out your previous lows and we don't want to see that happening. We don't want to see that happening. What is that one? PPT. Yeah, PPT. This has been really interesting for some reason. See this huge move up that it's had, and then this huge crash back down. What's PPT done against USDT? By the way, don't worry, Shivam. I'm going to take a look at your pal, whatever it was you asked for. What was it you asked for? Tron, was it? Was it Tron? I don't know. I'll check. I'll read the text. I'll read the chat in a second and figure it out. Amazing price action today. As you can see on the day, it says it's down 31% against the dollar and against the Bitcoin. This has been one of those more interesting coins over the last couple of days. It's down 31%, but look at what it was at. Over the previous 2 days, it went up. It went up 700 and something like that percent, something between this point here. It went from 0.2 all the way up as high as $1.04, then all the way back down to 48 cents. We'd want to see, in terms of this thing, by the way, it not go any further. Nice Dow theory pullback to come in here and retest this area and then move towards the top side thereafter. Would be not incredibly, it would just be, normally very bullish, not very incredulous. I wouldn't be incredulous if I saw it happen. I'd just say that's the way it is, and that would be really nice. But look at that as a rebuy entry. Could this potentially be the best rebuy entry for the weekend? PPT USD 24 hours in this area. It could be, but we need to see things turn around. I mean, look at these crazy things. If this was because this is in crypto, you can't help but think there's a degree of pump and dump with regards to this, and of course there is. I mean, that's exactly what happened. Somebody and people pumped it, and then people then dumped it 50% the way back down again. So great. But what you're seeing here is a hidden bullish divergence coming in on the MACD as a result. Not on the RSI quite, but almost, almost there, but didn't quite get it. Anyway, what was it he said? I'm going to scroll up and find. By the way, thank you so much to Monkey Magic, TradeSpotting, and all the rest of the folk that welcomed in Talhal as well. By the way, and everything, that was great to see. And Drew's Tech. By the way, are you called Drew's Tech because you run a YouTube channel about tech? I'm going to have to check that out. And as well, I'm looking at that name, Robert Online. I'm wondering if you've got your own gig on the go as well on YouTube. Let me know in the comments so I can check out your channel and tell everybody else about the features and benefit. Oh, it was BAT that you wanted to look at. Okay, Shivam. Let's take a look at BAT. B-A-T, not bath. I wonder if that was a Freudian typo slip. I could do with a bath and a can of iron brew in a bath. Nice Friday night as a 30-year-old male in Scotland. BAT USD T. Okay, cool. So we've had a nice rise up here in the 4-hour time frame, that's for sure. Obviously finding ourselves, asking questions at our previous highs over here. Well, that's fine. We haven't retraced down the way. Stick the volume on, see what that looks like down below. We've got a nice. If the volume, by the way, just in advance, so you know what the point is here. The volume's going along like this, and then it gets to this point, it goes down a bit, and then it comes back up a bit, and we've got this here on the go. Then that would be nice to see in terms of anybody who's looking at it for the point of view of a cup with handle in this zone here. Now, this doesn't really make much sense with regards to cup with handle, but the crypto world is absolutely fascinated with cup with handles. So gonna stick on the old volume and see. Oh, look at that, lovely, look at that, perfect, right, perfect. So there's a wee lesson for you, wee lesson for everybody out there. Nice one, huh? It's always good to chuck in the lessons. Cool, right? So so then if we did see a retrace from this point, what would I expect? Well, I wouldn't expect is a bit rich of a word, right? But if we saw a retrace from this point here, then I would expect yeah, between these 2 points here, I would expect 0.2294, so 229, we're at 2485. If we were to drop down to 2294, that would be like a 50%, you know, maybe that's a bit rich, and it would actually be there. So anywhere between 2233 and 2294 could offer up a really excellent buying opportunity should we find support in around those areas. Why? Because of that whole concept that I don't particularly care about, you know, overall in terms of the cup with handle thing, but you know, just this idea, and it ties together with numerous different things like Fibonacci theory and Dow and everything else. That hits the spot. By the way, if you're wondering around the world what this is called, I think it's called like fruit. What do they call it here? They call it a sparkling flavored soft drink with sugar and sweeteners. That's it. That's the flavor that you get. We don't really, nobody in Scotland knows what it is. I think everybody's inclined to say, yeah, it's the taste of girders. Yeah, so that's what I'd be looking to as well. Somewhere between 2230, where we had our last low, 2290, for it to come in there with a nice move towards the top side. If we get a retrace, if we don't, then we're looking at just kind of breaking up the way here. So that's what you'd be looking at for that one. Between this high and this low, well, that's, what time frame am I on right now? 4 hour. Yeah, let's go up to the daily here. Bring up this here full screen. Get rid of my thingies list. Take a look at this trend. There was a time in the past where I asked if BAT is the coin that just loves to consolidate, and I think the answer to that is yes, which is what you'd expect with it having a sort of use case and everything else, you know, because people like to have the idea of stores of value instead of just all FOMO and crypto and everything else. With a lot of crypto projects out there, you do have to wonder why they bothered why they bothered with crypto in the first place. You do have to wonder, don't you? I mean, essentially what BAT's business model is, we'll sell adverts to people through our browser. The reason they bother with crypto was because that's how they're going to distribute the payments from there, and that's what's going to give it value and everything else. It was a really good idea. It was an appropriate use case, except in terms of growth and being the whole crypto crazy world thing. BAT's not one of those coins really that jumps out as being that use case, that type of thing. Like people earn a quite variable by a degree of percentage, but you know, they earn BAT tokens and advertisers buy BAT tokens to advertise on the thingy, and that's, you know, an ecosystem right there that doesn't need to be the only reason it exists is for speculative value, a la Bitcoin, right? Which is currently the truth. Let's face it. Let's be honest. The 99.9999999, almost to infinity % of people who have ever touched or looked at or thought about Bitcoin have done it from a purely speculative point of view. Same can't be said with BAT here. Nevertheless, there is, of course, the chance for this to trend towards the top side. Indeed, it's traded. It's a tradable asset, and with that introduces, it injects speculation into a market which otherwise wouldn't have speculation. If BAT wasn't tradable, which it could easily, which that's fine, because they could just run it like centralized style if they wanted to. Then there wouldn't be a need for that, but it's tradable and everything else, and that's all good. So there's speculative value here in this one, and of course then what we need to see happen from a broader term point of view, looking at this Fibonacci taken from this low over to this high, we want to invalidate it and take out this 236. We've obviously come down and done that 50% movement from the broader scale picture, which is typical, and that are enough for me to say it. Well, for me to say that Dow theory is a thing, and that I could just talk about it like that. And we want to take out 236, and that comes in at 29 centimos. Okay, so we need to take that out. Otherwise, we could still be looking down at even taking out our previous lows and going down to 16 centimos. We don't want to see that happen. going from our previous high down to where we are now. Clearly, obviously, we've taken out the 236. We're past the 382. This is where we found inflection. It's not visible on the chart, but it's kind of obvious there anyway. So this is where we found inflection at with the 382. We've moved past that now. That's good to see. Or no, we haven't. As I zoom in and the candle no longer just looks like a wick. The whole thing, you can see the difference between the wick and the body. We're actually just below it. So there you go. 25 cents is what we need to really break here with this one to get past the 382. Why do I say that? Well, because if you're looking at this from either point of view, if we go by 25, that's good. If we drop down past 21.80, that's bad, and it's bad for a number of reasons. No least of which will be because if you take a Fibonacci and from down here up towards the highs and look at where what potential targets. In fact, the 618 would put us in with a double bottom. That's interesting. That if we did do that. Anyway, how are we looking in terms of the oscillators? Coming up here, we're lower than over here, and we're just about, and we're still lower here. So we don't have hidden bearish divergence. Should we get a pullback from this point, we don't have hidden bearish divergence. That's good to see. If we get a, and we, in terms of this rise up that we've had since the lows over here, we've not had bearish divergence either. In terms of these lows that we had running into the move up, we had bullish divergence on the MACD, not the RSI. As it happens. Yeah, okay, so we need to see the prices move above 24 or 25. That would be good. That's clear area of resistance for us. That's a decent. I wouldn't want to short this right now in the sense that it's trending towards the top side, or has been since the 3rd November. So we've got a month of upward price, or 2 months coming up to a month and a half of upward price action. That's good to see, overall. But that's very, very shallow in terms of like having to kind of really force the issue to say that it's trending up the way. And we've got this one high and this one higher low overall. You could say, or maybe two if you include that little bit of flux, but really it's just that. It's really what we're looking at is just this so far, and what we need to then see happen is to go past this point overall to cut in another high and keep going towards the top side. And if that were to happen, then your target's going to come in at the 618. If we go in for a 50% retrace and put in a double top, then your target is at 27.82, $0.2782, 27 cents. Is it likely? Well, the next target is going to be the 618. Okay, that's the next target. 31 cents, 30 cents. Those are the next targets. That's 20% up from where we are now. In terms of trading this thing, you don't need to be so greedy, though. I mean, that's just in terms of the trend and looking at it in the trend. Blech. I do that in every episode. Looking at it in terms of the trend. In terms of this trend without bearish divergence, yeah. So my expectation, this is good. I want to see this break this so that you can get good. You can get move off it, and you can use this to manage your risk in around this area. Just essentially, these sorts of ideas. Taking out your previous lows is going to be where you want to stop out at potentially, and you're looking at an easy 3 to 1 or 3 to whatever. But we tend to talk about things in terms of 6 to 1 or 5 to 1 on the channel, and that's what you're awarded very easily in terms of a move around this zone with a trade here. You can get a nice 5 to 1 risk reward trade here, and if you're going to base your trades around 5 to 1, that means you only need to be right 20% of the time in order to just break even, and that's decent, and it takes you up towards that 618. So that would be your move in around there. Failure to do so, then of course you're looking down the way. Taking out this previous low in terms of the hourly chart would be crap, and then you're going to be looking down to your previous lows over there at 20. This is a little bit bullish at the minute, so I suppose we could stay on that front and go with the trend on that one. But we're looking at this and saying there's various areas where you could see pullbacks too, and if we did see a pullback down towards 22 or so, that would be the very idealist of entry points for us. So it depends on how you want to get in on this one or what you want to do. Obviously, waiting for sort of confirmation above this line gives you a slightly less good entry in terms of movements up above, but that's fine if you're looking to reduce your risk. Movements towards the downside, of course, you could even get in on this in terms of a short if you wanted to, but of course that's obviously counter trend, and your target on this would be down there at 22, somewhere between 22.90 and 20. So let's just call it 22.90 because I said 22.33 earlier on. and you then obviously for this to work out as a 5-to-1, you'd have to not be taking out your previous highs. Structurally, you'd also want to not be taking out your previous highs anyway, so there's no point in having your stop up there, obviously, if you think about things logically for more than just one step. If you think about 2 or 3 or 4 steps down the line, it's fairly transparent and obvious. So then that would be your sort of your short type idea and around that idea, if you're thinking about it from right here right now. I don't know if that's any use to you or not, Shivam, but we've done the TA for you. There's a wee freebie. You've been asking for stuff in the past and I've not done them so much, so there you go. I hope that makes you feel good and lovely. What do we see here with the chat? Paul Myrick. I've not said hi to you, Paul Myrick. I should have done, but I didn't see you coming in there. Mike sounds great. Hair is on point. Cheers, buddy. Charts are fire. Going to be a good weekend. Cheers, Rocky boy. I hope so, right? I hope so. I mean, I'm talking about this quite negatively, that the prices could drop down the way. We could just flag out for the weekend. That would be the sort of the general expectation, I suppose, probably amongst most actors in the market. Obviously coming into the Friday close, the CME chappies are closing up their trades, and that reminds me, I want to go back over to Bitcoin, stick on the CME chart and see how it goes. Oh, look at this. This is so great. So wonderful. It's so totally going to burst up right now. No, not really. No, this is what we're looking at, obviously. Now, if this turns out to be something like this, then groovy, and this is kind of the idea. It's all the same ideas, when you're talking about these sorts of things. This could obviously be a flag, it could be a pennant, it could be whatever you want to call it. If we already did the measured move chat, and I didn't want to draw it in because it's just too much and too visual and too FOMO, so that's one of the reasons why I didn't do it. But we already took a measured move type thing. I'll just draw it in, since I've got this stick here, looking at how it would go if you were to do it sort of flagpole style, and it takes you up towards us as far as 28,000 even on that one. We kind of agreed that we would go with 26,000 as being our target. Is that, if I take it from this inflection point instead here, is that why? Oh, this is the 1 hour time frame as well. I'm going to go into the 4 hour. Not that the measured move will be different, but just that the flagpole itself will look more like consistent this way. Yeah, so actually maybe this in terms of the CME chart takes you up to 27,000 something. In terms of the Bitcoin, this one chart, I'm going to have to actually draw on here as well. Cannot be bothered, but I'm going to do it in a rough idea at least. Yeah, okay, so it's more like 27,500 rather than 26,500, whatever. I don't think that trading for 20% moves is necessary at any given time, and that's what you're talking about right there anyway. So you should be happy enough to be able to figure out what to do in amongst that zone. Anyway, Bitcoin, what if we were to go for just a wedge type move, right? Which is much more reasonable in terms of talking about profit taking and everything else. That puts us back up towards that 24,515 area. When I say back up, then I'm kind of realizing now as I look at the charts that obviously that's the more all-time highs in terms of the CMEs. Puts us back up at that area. What does it line up with our all-time highs? Yeah, 23,860 was our all-time high over here in CME. That's interesting. I didn't actually realize that in the chat previously, that our all-time high was, I thought we got as far as 24,000. Did we not? On what chart did we go at 24,000 on? It'll have been like Bit Mexico, right? Let's just go over to Bit Mexico or something and see. Bitfinex. See, Bitfinex prices, by the way, at the minute slightly sort of backwardized compared to other places. Just thought that's interesting. Bitfinex obviously often is got a slight price differential in terms of the grand scheme of things. Kind of like looking back at Bitcoin pricing over say the last 3 years or so, that's what we've seen with regards to Bitfinex. It's not been the case for the most of this year. It isn't actually like distinctly and obviously the case right now, with it being 22,918 when other prices are 22,944. Something to keep an eye out for though. Obviously here's the Bitfinex differential in price, because of course the biggest scammers and manipulators in the world of crypto like to do their trading on Bitfinex. They also like to use BitMEX, Binance, and every other crypto exchange. I'm just kidding. I just know that I've just heard that allegedly the guy that set up Bitfinex, or one of the ones on the board of directors there, is also on the board of directors of Tezos, or not Tezos, USDT, and of course there's the potential for them to be. That's a massive scam. So yeah. But anyway, that's just allegedly. I don't know. I wouldn't propagate any of those rumors anywhere myself personally. It's just stuff I've heard in newspapers and things. What am I looking at on this one for again? Is it in the chat? Many thanks, says Shivam. Look, buddy, you're welcome. Target is from the breakout, right? Not the top of the flagpole. Yeah. It is. It's from the. Yeah, it is. It's from the breakout. But I'm just, did I actually measure it so badly as to use it? Did I actually stick it in? I did, didn't I? I did. Where would the breakout come in at? Was I looking up to it? Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm going to reverse it back again. Yeah, somewhere between 26. Who cares, right? We're looking up into this zone here, right? There we go. That zone there where that sort of weird smiley face is, that's your target off of the measured move off of this thing, right? That's your rough target in there where the smiley face is, okay? Somewhere between its head and between its forehead and its chin, somewhere in that zone. I mean, because of course we're going to come back and do the technical analysis on Monday. Do we think that it could get up there over the weekend and just make a $3,000 gap on the charts or something like that? It could happen. I mean, these things are obviously theoretically possible, but really, in terms of the weekend, we're not really looking up as high as that really necessarily. Right now, we could be. I'm not going to say that we definitely aren't. It's just that we've never seen a $3,000 gap in the last 3 years of Bitcoin price action. Percentage-wise now. That would also be a gap of more than 10%. Now, have we seen gaps of more than 10%? That'd be like a gap of $1,000 down there at the $9,000 area. So maybe maybe there's a way of getting up towards this area or whatever. But I wouldn't say that 27,000 is like necessarily on the. But then again, famous last words, right? But I wouldn't have thought so. But yeah, the measured move would take you. The measured move, you take it from the breakout, not from the top of the flagpole. That's correct, Demo. Thanks for keeping me right with that one. And yeah, that's the general area it would take you to. BTC bull flag for the win, says Trayspawn. Good stuff. Yeah, I do like a 5-to-1 and stuff like that. Demo says, "Hey peeps." By the way, it's great to have you here, Demo. Been good chatting with you about stuff. By the way, I talk very cynically about certain things, but the truth of it is, it's just like I'm being the sort of the advocate for negativity or whatever with regards to like the stock to flow thing and stuff like that, because nobody else in the world seems to. I mean, I've just not seen it. If there's a ton of articles out there saying the reasons why this thing might not be so great or something like that, I'd love to see them. I'm just not seeing them at the minute, so I'm taking that all on myself. But actually, we already extracted all the benefit of that. I should be calling you Plan C. Nice to see you, Plan C. Weekend is great time to leave the CME futures behind. Yeah. It is. It's a great time if you want to push away and all the rest of it. Then that's the time to do it. Something that captured the attention of more folk would be good. This community could be much larger while staying equally familiar and friendly. What are we talking about? Let's come up with a better one at Google user. Wait, Google user. Oh, there's a Google user here. I never said hello to Google user. Where's Google user? Google user, I can't see you in the chat. Where's Google user? Am I reading something wrong here? Hey, yeah, hair looking great. Thanks so much, buddy. Really do appreciate that. No channel of my own, Rocky. I'm just a semi-retired, geeky, nerdy observer. Cool, nice one. So you're online. Nice one, like America Online, but it's Robert Online. Google user, there you are. Rocky, what's this title about? You can do better. What did I call it again? What did I call it? Let me just. I mean, buddy. Yeah, I know. Are you? What did you call them? Are you a subscriber to the channel? Because you'll know that. Oh my God, the weekend live crypto tea. Yeah, I know I can do better. Let me just give you a quick example of like what my. If you. Either you're saying that to me because you know me and it's like a little laugh and we're having, or you're saying it to me because you don't know me, in which case this channel is like the classic best non-FOMO least clickbait channel that you've ever seen on YouTube in your life. I just did this for a laugh, like this is just for a good laugh, and I thought that all the subscribers would be like ha 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 when they saw it, because this isn't my style, and I've done it a few times recently just for the crack. Trying to grow the community. Would you load? Oh, I'm on my channel. Oh wait, I want to load up. Oh gosh, what a fail. I wanted to show this. I wanted to show this detractor Google user. The type of videos. Look at this. Look, I mean, for instance, Cardano will it lead the way, blah blah. STZ hanging in there. Why are we dropping? This is from recent times. The Tezos TA, Chainlink TA, potential reversal zone warning. I suppose that's the most FOMO you've got. The hard climb up. Right, those are kind of titles moving away from what I'd done before. Let me just jump back a chunk in time. So one of these videos has got my monetization turned off on it as well. My God, what am I like? What kind of, I'm so not a professional YouTuber, am I? Algorand technical analysis, Link and Tezos technical analysis, XT's Link and TZ technical, you know, like this is like if every channel, anyway, for somebody to come along and say that, I hope every single one of you, what am I doing here? Where's my where's Trading View? I hope every single one of you who saw him saying that. Oh, you're a sub. Oh, well, then you know already, Google user. Yeah, I can do better, man. Yeah, I can do better. I tend to do better. Yeah. Let me see. Weekend chill stream. Would that be a better? Is that what I should have called it? Weekend chill stream. What do you think? What's the general consensus out there? You can have a vote amongst yourself. I'll change the title of the episode if you like right now. What do you think? Do you think I should change the title of the stream? Shall we stick with OMG, bunch of emojis, the weekend and all that? Or should we change it over to something like weekend chill stream? I'm totally ambivalent about it, and whatever. That's cool. That would capture the vibe, said somebody. That's what we are doing, I suppose. Weekend is a great time to leave see me behind, blah, blah, blah. Magic Internet Money, good to have you here, buddy, my friend. Magic Internet Money also has a channel. By the way, if anybody's interested in looking, Magic Internet Money has a channel on YouTube. So this is you know, one of these things that I talk about in terms of how I check out what people do on YouTube. Magic, who subscribe and all the rest of it. Magic Internet Money, he was sent here by Peter, so a good friend. Magic Internet Money, good stuff. 756 subscribers. You can send some people that direct. If anybody's looking for you know, for somebody else out there who is obviously you know, a part of this community as well, then you can see one of his videos. Algo breakdown, move to 50 cents coming.
It's been a while, so voice is a little shot.
Slight differences to the way I do videos, but there you go. That's who that guy is. Just thought might as well give people a nice shout out. So maybe you give me a shout out on your channel sometime as well, buddy, if you haven't already. Here's a counters to stock flow article that seems to agree with you, Rocky. The whole model rests on the wrong assumption that there is co-integration in a long-running relationship between the two or more variables. Oh yeah, sorry, co-integration. Yeah, I didn't understand there's a square bracket there. It's been so long since I've seen a square bracket demo. The whole model rests on the wrong assumption that there is co-integration between price and scarcity. Kruger said, who explained that without co-integration, it's nonsensical to think that Bitcoin stuck to flow, a number that goes up programmatically and everybody knows what it will be at any point in time, can be used to predict the price. There you go. That's nice to see. That's it. I mean, that's basically what I'm saying. That what you have is words like nonsensical, right? Nonsensical. I think that there's a lot of value in there. It's just that we've got to address the nonsensical aspects of it. I will definitely do so. Much appreciated. That video is a chart build. Much appreciated. Peter's a good guy. There we go. You know, a chart build. That's something I've never kind of done as like a title to a video or whatever. I wonder if that's an interesting idea. Maybe I should do that sometime. But frequently I'll do chart builds. Good idea. Chart builds. In fact, as well, I think the last time we did one that would kind of, I think this week, in fact, if you've been watching along this week, I don't know. On Monday, that's what we did. It started off, cleared out the chart, just put in a few things, and then of course we kind of added to it over the week, and now we're here at Friday and all the rest of it. So kind of that same sort of process but spread out a bit longer. Cool, nice one. Rocky 1, Plan B News 0. Is this stream about Omi's Go? Oh my god. Yeah, oh wait, oh yeah, cool, let's do Omi's Go then. Good idea, Demo. Let's do it so that ain't nobody can say that it was clickbait. Omi's Go versus Tether USD. So what do we have here on the Omi's Go? Ooh, has been at that for a bit longer than some other charts, hasn't it? I mean, this is an unusual. Am I on the wrong? Should I be doing this on a different chart? I mean, we've not got a. There's the price action. I didn't think I had any history there for a second, but clearly it does. What's this like? I've seen this chart elsewhere. What's this like at the minute? What's this like? Is this like? ZEC USDT. Just give me a second here. Yeah, look at that. So we have two friends here, two friend coins. We've got Amizgo and we've got Zed. In terms of like similarities in their charts, if anybody wants to get something, I mean, it's not identical by any means, but you know, it's when you're in crypto land, it's kind of when it's one of these things, isn't it? You kind of look and think what charts are similar. It's like this chunk as well in terms of the VET price action as well. Just tied off the drawings because you can't see shit there. So it's kind of like that as well, the big drop down and all the rest of it. I suppose what this kind of means is that we had a downward trend that then culminated in the COVID drop before bringing its way back up, unlike some other coins out there which didn't quite have that. There's a lot of different coins different charts out there. For instance, this is quite a different looking chart in terms of, you know, its depth, how it dropped down and came up. But obviously the whole world went around the same sort of structure with the March to summertime increase in price. Anyway, Omizgo, let's take a look at it. OMG US to the D. Do you reckon this is below the 236 of this area? It looks like it might be if you include the two wicks. So let's just put a bit of framework, a bit of structure around what we're looking at. Yeah, it is. It's below the 236. It's above the 382, however. So we're in this area consolidating. That gives us our nice little range at the minute. This is a 24-hour time frame for people who are curious. You have a low here, then a high, then a higher low, then a higher high, then a higher low. So that's nice to see. So you could also be looking at this kind of tentatively along these sorts of lines just now as well. So that's quite nice to see. So we can just kind of ditch this off. Obviously, if we go down below the 236, sorry, the 382 over here, then then you know, things have changed dramatically in terms of the price action. So $2.61 is going to be a potential area for us. We could potentially fake out of this thing all the way down as far as those zones. Of course, we're up there at $3.21 at the minute. That's be a 60 cents move, which is obviously 20%. So you wouldn't necessarily, you know, stay in a long underwater for 20% drop off anyway. So you'd have to manage your risk appropriately and all the rest of it around those zones if you were doing things with that. But this is what we're looking at just now. Can we continue that trend? So have we got any divergence or anything on the go just now, just to see? No, we don't seem to. It'd be nice to have some hidden divergence, which we do on the MACD. This low to this low, as you can see, much lower. Overall, we're going on the way up and all that sort of stuff. And you can see that there actually there's a touch of bearish divergence between those 2 points there. What are you going to do? If it was on one side, it would probably look like a wedge, but it's on both. Chop here in terms of the DMI. Let's just flick around a couple of different time frames and see if any of them look decent for us on that front. Down to the 1 hour time frame, you've got this tentative negative trend, which kind of makes sense, kind of because of this price action coming down towards the lower end of the parallel channel. But you would expect to see if we can get a turnaround and it would come in at this point. Did we have bullish divergence just here? Oh, between these two lows we had bullish divergence for sure. Yeah, that's good. So that was good, and it came in all the way down to that area, which of course, you know, whether it's a parallel channel or just a single upward sloping support line or whatever that you choose to use is neither really here nor there. You know, I could have just done one line in here and said, oh look, this is where we went down to after some bullish divergence, blah blah blah, whatever. Upside target 549. Wow, that would be huge, but that's your next upside target, I suppose. 549, is that fair? 550 maybe? 550. That look like a 5? Is that enough like a 5? I think it is enough like a 5. Downside target, well, we've got F, fake out. Not fuck off, but fake out coming in down to sort of the 2. What do we think it would maybe be around about? You know, you could be aware that there's a 20% potential drop off for us as well with regards to this. I'd look out in terms of tentative to be careful. This is the next clear area. You know, as long as the prices are above the 177, then you're kind of still trending up the way. Well, maybe not 177. Maybe it's fair to say as long as they're above $2, then they're still trending up the way. And then it's funny that, isn't it, with the prices of this thing being in and around about those Tezos prices, like, and how this is slightly different looking at this thing. You know, we've had this movement up the way there, and this is the Omizgo USD pairing, and making a comparison between a similarly priced coin throughout this period of time. then you can see that's very different, isn't it? So we had the lows over here in March, came up to these highs in 21st of August, and then it's not very different, but it's different. It's just different. This has got the potential to turn around, and we'll see that with a lot of alts overall. So maybe at this point it's maybe time to go over and take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and as we see, it's dropped down a little bit. I would like to see follow through on this over the weekend, you know, come back down towards the 236 in there at 65.18 and give all these alts that we're looking at that chance to kind of breathe up the way a wee bit, and if it wants to do it in sort of with the sort of the weekend relief for shorters, with the price of Bitcoin coming down to 21,500 or something like that, that'd be cool, that'd be fine. It would help the alts, I think, overall. People talk about, for the alts to go up, we need to see the Bitcoin prices still going up. If the last 6 months has taught you anything, that's not true. If the last 2 weeks has taught you anything, that's not true. Just bear these things in mind. Buy Irn-Bru, sponsored product. I could actually, it'd be funny, wouldn't it? I just hit the button and say that this has got a sponsored product in it. Me advertising Irn-Bru, but they didn't pay me anything to do it, so so it'd be cool. A bar industries, bar soda, isn't it? Bar soda. If you're watching this, consider sponsoring me, even though my oldest brother did sleep with your daughter and then never call her back. That'd be sweet. There's another little story from you for you. Everyone in the audience is like, what are you talking about? Yeah, he didn't call her back. Until I can dissect the sensible from the nonsensical, I'll continue to use buy low, sell high, or to the best of my ability. There you go. That's it. That's it. I mean, that is the sense right there. Hiya, Richard. Good to see you there. It's nice to see you. You're like the only one that calls me Richard in the chat, but there you go. I mean, it's a good name. Cool. Nice to have you back here. Cheers, peeps. K-Doc, I didn't hear your thoughts on... Oh, you have to go. Thanks for the video, Rocky. Need to head off. You have a great weekend. If you're still here, K-Doc, let me know your thoughts on brown sauce. The volume profile, visible range indicator on the scale is part of their paid plan demo. Oh, that's right. Is the volume on a pro training view indicator? Yeah. It's a pro training view indicator. Pretty sure for the folk out there who can't get access to this sort of thing or whatever, that there's like fakey ones from the sort of the public library of like volume profile. I can get a fake one here, maybe. No. You might have to go find it on it. You might have to actually go find it, not published, because I guess they stop people from publishing it, but you'll find scripts out there that can do similar sorts of things for you. It is possible to get them if you refuse to pay for TradingView. However, I'd prefer to go with this one. It's actually nicer looking as well. The official one's better. This was this way. It's the first time I've changed that line in a couple of months. Ooh, dodgy. Why did I even do that? I'm not actually entirely sure. Yeah. Let me just stick on the 15-minute Bitcoin chart here and zoom on in with the click auto. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Obviously, we talked about this in advance and then it happened. Look at that. Technical analysis is completely hocus pocus. It doesn't work. There's no reason in the world to look at technical analysis. What you should do is spend 80% of your time looking at the fundamentals. The fundamentals for Bitcoin being there's only 21 million of them. They're scarce, and stuff like that. Yeah, great. Lightning Network. Yeah. Lightning Network. Oh yeah, great. What else is there? Why people? I don't know. Whatever. The community or something. I don't know. Whatever. Forget it. Don't bother looking at it. Technical analysis. It works, right? That's what it is. I demonstrate it on a daily basis, right? I demonstrate it all the time to people. There's some people out there in the world who say things like, "You need to show your trading account to be able to." Oh, I wouldn't look at him. He doesn't show. Now, of course, right? I would agree with the likes of like Doordash and stuff like that. That, you know, their main goals in life are to just become a good YouTuber and stuff like that. And that's fair enough. I think that's totally fair. But they masquerade as being traders, and it's a bit funny. But I actually also think that the idea of saying to people that if somebody doesn't show their trades on a stream that they're not that they're fake is preposterous. And in fact, I think to show your trades on a stream is completely unethical. And I've talked about that numerous times. Anyway, I think that doing simple stuff like this is enough of a demonstration for people to know that it's the real deal here. It doesn't really matter. It's live, you know. I can't fake it. Well, I could actually. I suppose I could fake it. Shall we fake this? Let's do this. Let's fake it. Let's fake it just for the crack real quick. Take the backwards in time button. But this isn't faking it because this is precisely actually what happened during this live stream. Let's take the back in time. Back in time. Where is this? Where is it? Why? What? I wanted to fake it. Why am I not allowed to fake it? I don't understand. Why can't I fake it? That's well annoying. Anyway, well, whatever. We'll just have to go with the real world instead. There are only 2 people that know the recipe for Iron Brew, and they never get on planes at the same time just in case. Wow. Wonder what else they don't do. It's like text you take out your phone. Hey Dave, I'm about to cross the road. Alright Sam, go for it. I'll cross the road in 5 minutes. Hey Sam, I'm about to sleep with a Thai prostitute. Yeah, cool, okay, that's cool. I'll make sure I wrap myself in cotton for the night. They should probably put it in a safety deposit box or something like that. Is the cool? Yeah. So how is everybody getting on anyway? How is everybody getting on? That's all I really want to know right now. How's everybody getting on? Are we coming in? Are we nearly close to the time? Yeah, 10:30. So I guess the CME's close. Are we on the CME chart? Yes, we are. The CME closes in what? In half an hour or so. This chart, if it tells you, if it's to say anything about things, is that we're not going to just suddenly burst up here by the looks of things and get you know, come in and put in higher highs and close the day with any degree of strength. Right, okay, so there's going to be a lot of price action. This is the 15-minute candles. There's going to be a ton of 15-minute candles that get done in terms of this same concept that we're looking at over here on the spot prices. God, why are those charts so radically different looking? They're not radically different. They're not radically. Are they radically different looking? No, they're not. Cool. Yeah. So the same chat from the same chat here is going to keep going potentially past the point where the CMEs close, you know. Got this little green candle coming in. Will it turn it around? Will it do it? Will it do it or not? Have I spoken too soon with regards to this one? Because obviously this is delayed by 10 minutes. Are we going to see things turn around slightly and come towards the top side again? Oh, and pressure it for the end of the close for the day. Oh my goodness, how exciting. That's what we're looking at right now, ladies and gents. Leave that on the chart and just chill out with folk for a wee while. Scotty Sniper, what do you think of the CME Ethereum? I think that's pretty cool. It would make for a fantastic short, wouldn't it? If the CME Ethereum, if the CMEs are like, want to do what they did to Bitcoin, to Ethereum. So Bitcoin had its it was running up, brilliant trend, all the rest of it, dump when the CMEs opened. So what I think about the idea of, oh, look at this, some old price targets in the charts there. What do I think? Well, if it did this to Ethereum, it'd be a right laugh. I'd like it. I think that'd be hilarious. So what I think of it, when is the CME due in Ethereum, by the way, everybody, if you know the news for that, when is that actually launching? Fingers crossed it launches in around, I think, CME's closed. When did it close? Oh, did it close there? Did it close at 10? Did it close at 10? Am I just being stupid? Is that what it is? Oh yeah, you can see. Yeah, market closed. Yeah, it's closed. Oh, the CME's closed. Oh, the CME's closed. The CME's closed half an hour ago then. Yeah. Okay, maybe that's why I couldn't even do the I don't know. Whatever. Silly me. I was stupid. Sorry about the faux pas. It's hard to think properly when you're live. What do I think of it? What do I think? I think that, of course, it has the potential in the same way that we thought back in like 2017, whenever the CMEs were opening up, that it could be a very bullish thing. And of course, it could be a very bullish thing, and it'd be nice in a sense as well if it was a catalyst for more upside potential. But really, in a way, it gives access to institutions to short it. Why would anybody want to short it? Well, there's plenty of reasons for that. So maybe that could be a catalyst for February-ish. Right, cool. Okay, cool. Well, if Ethereum goes up to like $1,200 and is at its all-time high come February, and then the CME's open, then I'll probably stick on a few risk managed. I'm not going to just go crazy, but stick on a few shorts probably would be my initial thing if I'm just wanting to go on. If history tells us anything, that might be it. How are you, says Sledge. Want to know if I should consider taking profit if I want to avoid a correction. Don't want to be wrong and miss upside, but catching an unneeded downside would be worse. That's it. That's right. And as well, I want to draw your own eyes, Sledge, back to the question that you asked yourself. Should I consider taking profit? Yeah, you should, right? You should. Now, why should you do that? Well, because in the recent past, we've seen big 10% moves happen with regards to the price, and that offers up great rebuy opportunities where you'd have 10% in your back pocket straight away. Now, that's just one thing. Another thing is that nobody ever really went bust taking profits. You're talking about profits here. You're not saying should I cut a loss, should I cut this, should I just take this loss? Usually should I take a profit, and that's slightly different again. Another thing is that you don't need to take profit on your entire position, okay? You can always relinquish some of your position, and that's quite a common strategy and quite a useful one. It's good to employ that in your armory of strategies, right? So you could. Now, should you do it right here, right now? I'm not necessarily going to answer that necessarily. Could we see some weekend relief over the weekend? Yeah, we could. In the general, it's too difficult for me to answer that question in a really broad perspective for people. Obviously, if this is a bull flag and we move towards the top side, then you were regretting what the natural thing to do is to start regretting having taken profit on something, right? But that's crazy, but it's human, and as a human being, you and I are both crazy people, right? It's a spectrum. We're emotional beings, and what you would be liable to do would be to say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I'd have made more money had I not done it. Well, yeah, okay, but then you're talking about managing risk, and you're talking about the risk of of sitting through a pullback which you didn't need to sit through, having already acknowledged in advance that you're in a position of profit and you could take some of it. So I'm not a financial advisor. None of what I say is financial advice, and I don't talk about things in a financial advisory sort of way, really, to be honest with you, most of the time. But you're asking a direct question here, and this is something that's useful for everybody. Should I consider taking profits? Yes. Not that you should consider taking profits even necessarily because this is the market that we're in right now with regards to Bitcoin, USD pairing in this particular day, on this particular year, of this particular point that we're in, Earth is floating around the sun and everything else. No, is that you should always consider taking profits. Now, you should also consider taking profits when you open up your trade in the first place. If you want to be sensible about things, what you want to do is go in for a trade and then think about how you would take profits on that in advance, and come up with a system for doing that, yourself, and iteratively improve upon it and all the rest of it. That's a good idea to do that. And if you've thought that when you opened up your position, you wouldn't be asking that here right now, because you'd have decided back at 17 grand, 15 grand, 13 grand, 12 grand, 10 grand, 9 grand, 8 grand, 7 grand, 6 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand, whatever it would be that you got in at, that you would take some profits. And whether if say for instance you got in at the break of 20,000 and then we went up to 22,000, you could have taken some then. We went up to near enough 24,000, you could have taken some then. And had you got in at 20,000 and thought to yourself, I'll take some profit at 10% movement up as an example, then cool. Or if you got in at 20,000 and thought to yourself, well, I'm willing to let the prices drop down $400 here, in terms of my risk profile and staying in this trade. And if it goes lower than that, then I'll close out my trade. Then by the time it got up to 22,000, you're at a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio point anyway. And if you'd conducted yourself along those lines all the time, then you'd be fine. So really, these instances of FOMO that you feel, or regret, or any of that, when you sell something early and you profit shame yourself, is easily addressed by making these decisions in advance. That's how you address that. That's how professionals in the markets do it. So when you ask the question, should I consider taking profit? The answer is always yes, and it should be considered before your position's even in profit. You know, it's on the assumption that you use a limit order to open up your trade, then there's going to be a brief moment at the very least when you're in a loss, right? You know, and during that time you should be considering taking profits, right? And that's kind of what I mean. So I know that I know that the feeling is like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to look and I'm going to find somebody on the internet talking about Bitcoin right now. I'm going to find out if I should take profits right now because I need to make this decision now, having not made it earlier on. But what you're doing there is you're outsourcing that responsibility to somebody else, and you're always going to be, you know, finding it difficult to sleep at night time and everything else, and relying on other. And this isn't necessarily directed at you because I don't know you personally, and perhaps, you know, you trade really, really well, and this even could be a question that you're asking, you know, for a friend sort of idea. So that's not personal. I'm just saying that these things are easily solved in advance if you and that you know that you should really think about how much more of a benefit you'll get between now and 20 years away whenever you have really developed the skill of relying on yourself. It's one of the core things we talk about on the channel is there's a skill in relying on yourself, and you want to have that skill. Honestly, you really genuinely do. That's the kind of answer I needed. It's helpful to hear your thought process as you approach thinking about it, although I don't expect you to predict the future. Cool, nice one. Well, that's where you've come to the right place. I don't want to be greedy and I don't want to be fearful. This may be more, there may be more risk at this level than reward in the short term. Thank you, you're the best. No wait, Sledge, you're the best, right? You're the best, okay? You're the best. You and every single person in this Rocky Outcrop community is the best. At the start of the show here, I said that I was looking forward, you know, all day to coming on here and doing this episode and getting to catch up with my friends. You're the best, believe me, you're the best. Thank you so much for saying that. Really do appreciate it. And what have I missed around that, by the way? Ari Pyle says, I've always just figured, screw it, I've made money. Cool, you know, there we go. I mean, like, obviously that's a fairly, that's not very sophisticated. Artie would be the first to tell you that that's not sophisticated. He just, but you're operating from a point of there's something that's good. Could we make that better? Could we make it more sophisticated? Yes, we could. Is it wrong? No, it's not. And it does seem very overly simplified, but it isn't. You know, thinking to yourself, screw it, I've made money, is a good thing to do. You know, is a good thing to do, especially if you're able to do that consistently, right? Demo, the last time I was not in a trade, 2011. There we go. Check it out. That's it. That's it. Demo, a trader that's got 9 years experience. You never know. There could be even to you know, when we're talking about these lengths of time, you've got people in this community who are potentially more experienced even than I am, right? You do have that potential here in this community, and that's a brilliant thing. Now, my own history is really quite hard to pin it down to because it's less binary. It wasn't like I wasn't a trader, then I became a trader, or whatever. These sorts of, like, you know, black and white, pre-trading, post-trading history with a clear divide down the middle, and all the rest of it. So it's hard for me to actually say. I couldn't really tell you an exact figure, but yeah, you know, there's a potential there for the group, and as well, I want that to happen. I want people to come along who've got a great degree of experience, perhaps even more experience than I do or anybody else, and is able to elevate everybody, because together that's what we're going to do. Every single one of us is going to become a better trader, whether you're the Artie Pyle of the world who says, screw it, I made profit, or you're the Demo of the world who says, I've been in a trade ever since 2011. Somewhere in the middle, doesn't really matter. it's great to have everybody from all walks of life here. Thanks, TradeSpotting, said Artie Powell earlier on. My best friend is a hardcore trader. He trades in porn, does he? No, just kidding. He's told me for years that I was like an old oak tree, solid and no emotion. There you go. Like if you've got somebody who's in your circle of friends, who's your best friend, in fact, no less, that's fantastic. Who's a hardcore trader, and they're telling you that you have that strength, like the oak tree, without the emotions, then fantastic. It's also good to be like the willow, by the way. If you're gonna, you want to be like the willow and able to flex in the wind. You always want to be like the willow and all the rest of it. So if you're like the old oak tree in terms of your emotions, and like the willow in terms of your adaptability, then you have combined the two types of tree together that you want to be. You want to be the willow oak, or the oak willow. It's simple, but it's why I'm here as often as possible. It's great that anybody comes along. It's great that anybody comes. I'm so honored to have a community around me of people, and it's fantastic that you're all out there doing great. Sometimes I feel like if I was managing someone else's money, I would trade much more intelligently. Yeah, it's funny that this is going to be different for every single person. So Damo, for instance, is just throwing up the idea that if you were managing somebody else's money, would you trade more intelligently than you do with your own? Okay, now for me personally, I actually prefer trading with my own money to anybody else's, because I trade. Because generally speaking, I trade more intelligently with my own money if I were to go either way. So it can work either way for people, right? But if that helps you become a better trader, maybe it's worth thinking like imagining like it was somebody else's money. Imagining it like a way of doing this, for instance, is to assign in your head a certain amount of money to your wife or girlfriend, and say to them, I'm trading on your behalf or whatever with $1,000, by the way, and this is for you specifically, and I might lose it all, might not, might win some money, but it'd be fun to tell you at the end of every week or every couple of weeks or whatever how well it's been going. And and it helps involve people, because a lot of people do this and their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever doesn't know what they're doing, and there's this disconnect between people, and it's a massive part of people's lives, emotionally and in terms of what you're doing. So if you can bring somebody else into your life in that way, so that's a good thing that you can do. I've done that sort of thing in the past myself, and you can say, so this is how it's going, and then you can talk about the decisions that you made and why you made them from the point of view of if this was somebody else's money, and it can be, because you can say, if we make money, this $1,000 that I've put in on your behalf, then we'll go on holiday together, and if we don't, then we won't, like that sort of thing. And then it's real, it's a real thing, and they're genuinely interested, and you have to explain to them why you're making your decisions, and there will be a difference there, and there's a lesson to be learned there. So Damo thinks if he was trading with somebody else's money, that he might trade more intelligently. And cool. And for other people, it might be, if you're trading with somebody else's money, maybe you wouldn't care as much, and you would just, you would trade less intelligently, right? Because you can imagine the scenario where, for you $1,000 is so important, but for somebody else $1,000 is nothing, and you say, oh, I tried to make money for you, they're like, and did it make money? And you say no, and then they go, oh, don't worry about it. There's like scenarios like that exist out there, so you can find your own idea. Might help you improve your trading, even if you just do it experimentally, or imagine you don't have to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever to be able to do it. I'm here to learn the ways of the willow, says Artie Pyle. Fantastic. I would never go all in on a trade with someone else's money. Yeah, you see. So there's like, so essentially what you're saying there is that you could come up with a series of rules or limitations about what you would do if it was somebody else's money versus what you would do with your own. And like, I think that while Damo's example here is great and personal to him, that for the whole community, in terms of thinking about this, is like, it's a nice thought experiment to try and do for yourself. If the money that's in your account wasn't yours and it was somebody else's, how would you act? Would you do things slightly differently? And for instance, Damo was able to identify a couple of rules there. Wouldn't go all in. Would always keep some cash on the sidelines too. Always keep some powder dry for a black swan event or whatever. So there's loads of there's loads of that type of thing that can really help you improve, and in terms of finding that objectivity, because what happens is, as a trader, is that you make decisions emotionally, regardless, even if you're trying to suppress your emotions, just even in the act of suppressing your emotions, there's like energy being dedicated towards something which otherwise it wouldn't be, for instance, right, as an example. And maybe you would find yourself so detached emotionally if it was actually somebody else's money, where maybe your performance would be different, or maybe it'd be much better, maybe much worse, whatever. But you can probably identify really quickly some rules that you would do differently, and that might be the objectivity that you need. If you think to yourself, why am I struggling trading, or what could I do to improve, what areas do I need to tighten up, and you can't think because you're introspective, try and put it outside of yourself like that, and come up with some ideas, and it might really help. So that's cool. Thanks, by the way, for saying that, Demo. It's a really good it's a good thought experiment for everybody, I think, regardless of experience, really, or anything. Right, yeah. TradeSpawn's jumping in to say that he and I left that world partly because it's demoralizing trading account. Yeah, and also we aren't fond of having a boss or authority in general. Yeah, various other things as well. And actually as well, I do find that if I'm trading with somebody else's money who I care about, then it reduces my ability. I trade less effectively, whether or not it's intelligently or more, whatever word you want to use. I in terms of the way I think about it, I tend to trade less effectively with somebody else's money than with my own. Artie Pyle says, I would feel much more pressure handling someone else's money. Yeah, so that's cool. I said to my mate, we should manage 1k of each other's money to see if we would do better like that than if we managed our... See, there we go, right? There we go. At the very least, what you'll find is you'll be having conversations which are constructive and critical, with regards to what you did, and there'll be lessons there, in the difference. I suppose even if it was that everything went exactly the same, then the lesson would be that you no longer need to think about it, and you can just kind of forget about that idea at all. Like that might be a lesson. But yeah, there's there we go. Demo, font of wisdom for people. There we go. There's a chap there in the chat which has got some which is... I don't want to single them out, because actually, everybody that comes along more or less is pretty good with their chat. So, but yeah, another wise person. It's great. This community is great. I really love it. It's great. It's fantastic. Every single person in it is great. I see Robert Online said, Rocky, curious to know if you have any price prediction for Tezos. And yeah, I should probably have spent more time looking at that than I did today, and I want to do that. So I'll jump back over to Tezos real quick and say, essentially, in terms of predictions, I hate the word prediction. You already know all of that. But if providing that we stay above this orangey line over here, in the longer term, and essentially stay above this blue line here in terms of our opens and closes and all that sort of stuff, and as long as we don't wick too far down below, so long as we don't go down below, essentially so long as we don't go down below $2, but whatever. Currently I'm seeing this as up. I'm looking at the at the downside during the upward trend here, and seeing that there's a potential for hidden bullish divergence, which is good to have. Well, not the potential; it's right there. It's like we've got it. Providing we don't just... It's still potential, because we haven't really taken out our previous highs over here. With this wick we almost did, but we haven't quite done it yet. But should we move up, then it's hidden bullish divergence. Now, of course, we did have some bearish divergence just in here at this top here, but that came in with it, that just between these 2 points here, but that came in with this little play out. And what we talk about as well is the sort of the initial thrust up here, when the impulse up, if you like, in terms of looking at this move up the way compared to this move up the way, and we can see that between those 2 points we weren't actually bearishly divergent. Between these 2 points in the micro we were, and that's when we came in for our higher low so far, which could obviously go lower and whatever else, but so far, so that's all good. So in terms of the structure and what we're looking at, that's all fairly decent, right? It's fairly decent. There are other things to consider. We've talked about other ideas across other coins and stuff today, and of course as well, we know that this has got a twin peak element to it. It's not very good for a cup with handle in really any of the aspects of what a cup with handle is, but we've talked about these things. If we were to move past this zone and jump up towards the top side, there's a few different ideas that we could be looking at in terms of price predictions. Have I not made any price predictions? Maybe not recently, but I think this here overall is like the most fun one to look at in terms of price prediction. Obviously that's quite a distance away, and that would take us up to $4. But in the meantime, like coming back up here, and that would be my next target. So like the next one that I'm looking at really is towards that 280. I think recently I talked about 289. I'm not quite sure how I came to the idea of 289 right now off the top of my head, in all honesty. And I don't want to say just like make stuff up to make it fit. But 289 was something that maybe that's just partly inspired by the conversation that I had with somebody in the chat recently. Anyway, if we look at this and see this basin that we've got in this point here, we did come up and put in a twin peak around about that $2.90 to $3 or $2.89 to $3 zone where we have this peak at, before, then that would be quite nice, and that's the next natural target. This is an overall upward trend that we've been in since October, if you like, in terms of the USD pair, and so I'd like to see this continue up the way and at least try in with our previous high. So 289 is one of those numbers where it's actually a lower high currently, and it'd be an easy enough profit taking point, and you're talking about a huge move up anyway from where we are now to up towards those zones of like 20%. And we talk about these sorts of things and how I would tend to think about things about taking profit in advance, yada yada yada. So that's where I'm looking for in terms of that one at the minute. And then afterwards, because we also spoke about this other idea about the risk, somebody said it in the chat already, that the risk at certain points, the person talking about about the pullback, who was that? That was who is that saying they didn't want to live through a pullback? I hate forgetting people's names in this chat. Who was it that said they didn't want to live through a pullback? Feck. Not sure. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'm too distracted. But oh, hey Dom, nice to have you here. By the way, nice to have you here, Mr. President. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if it was Underwood and things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there's the name from Tolkien and everything else. As soon as I see Dom Underhill, for some reason I think Mr. President. Don't know why. Hopefully that goes away, because it's like having a song stuck in your head. It's fairly annoying. But anyway, nice to see you, Mr. President. So yeah. What was I trying to say there? Yeah, taking about profits in advance, and all that, instead of getting up towards the 275 area and thinking, oh yeah, $3 is right on the cards, we need just like another 10% and we're right there. That's dangerous thinking. The risk in this zone is much higher than the risk on the run up to it. So then you can sort of check out and then check back in again, putting in higher highs or looking for a higher low after that point. If we don't get a higher low, right? So if we come up towards this, so the general idea being that if we come up to this in this zone here, if we come up to this point here and then have a higher low come in thereafter, then that would be cool, and I'd like to see that happen around about 260 if you're talking about predictions and everything else. If we don't see it at 260, and that's fine, then I'd like to see it happen at 230 thereafter. Those would be fine. And if we go on below that, then that's obviously sad face time. Okay, and if we don't see a pullback, if we do go up to here and you're thinking at 275, I better not take profit at 289 because we're going to smash $3, and then you take the profit or whatever, and then we do smash $3 and just go straight through it, then the target becomes what I had in mind with this this fella, and kind of going up towards these ideas and looking up towards 360 and whatever else. At which point you're talking about, in terms of percentages, you're talking like 10% here isn't even what we're talking about. Really, we're talking actually that you're looking at 20% movements just to get to where your profit taking would be, and then of course then thereafter there's another 20% thereafter and whatever else. So in terms of profit moves and all profit and all that, there's these big numbers that are potential for us in these zones, and that would be kind of what I'd be looking at in terms of actual predictions, and actually saying I predict this is going to happen. I don't really want to go down that path right now. I don't really want to, in all honesty. I'd rather just not, to be perfectly frank with you. I hope that's okay, because what we're looking at here is a period of which could be described as sort of consolidation after a drop down. This is upwards overall, but we've not struck. We put in this high overall here, and that high, if this was to be from a broader perspective. So that's the 4-hour time frame. If I jump up to something like the 2-day time frame, right? So this gets kind of aggregated a little bit out for us, or maybe even the 3-day time frame, while we can still see this inverted head and shoulders potential and everything else on the go, if this fails, then what you're looking at here is having not really managed to take out our previous highs in that inflection zone, which isn't so obvious down there on the 4-hour time frame, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, when you're looking over towards the left here, and you see this zone, and you see these highs that we put in, just here, right? See those highs and how they're obviously higher than this zone just there, right? If we go up towards the 3-day time frame, what do you see in relation to these two zones here? You see that while it was pretty darn close, it wasn't higher. We didn't actually take it out, and instead, then, while we put in we put in this high over here, sort of this pathetic move in the RSI, then this turns out to be hidden bearish divergence. If we fail at the head and shoulders, and how would we know that we'd failed at the head and shoulders? Well, it'd be taking out our previous low in here. So if we actually go down below $2, or whatever. If we go down below $2, then all of this goes to pot, and you're looking at this as being a hidden bearish divergence, a failed inverted head and shoulders pattern, where perhaps you're going to at least be looking down to the 180 area, and that's again another 10% off the prices towards the downside if that were to happen, right? So that's why I'm hesitant to do this, because of the way that we've arrived at this section so far, okay? So while that doesn't necessarily make it into every single episode that I talk about with Tezos, then that's the broader perspective that we're at right now, which is why we need to look towards these numbers where this zone was. And what is that number? Well, it's 262 essentially. So when it comes down to the zone, and why I'm saying 289 would be a profit taking target or whatever, that's because it's in this wick of this candle, and ultimately, you could take profit in that zone and see the prices come in for that higher low at 260, 240, 230, 220, whatever, and that's the idea. So anybody who's willing to predict what's going to happen beyond what I've just said is a lunatic, okay? And I can't really embrace that mentality. I'm not that type of trader. I just never have, and also I'm definitely not that type of educator. So I can't embrace that mentality. But that's the price predictions with regards to Tezos. Okay, I hope that you found that somewhat helpful. By the way, I see Nightbot coming in trying to tell me that I better say thanks to TradeSpawn for having hit the like button. Thank you so much, by the way. Everybody hit that like button if you don't so mind. That's very much. President is fine, says Tom. Good. And nice to see you, John M. John M. Johon. John M. Nice to have you here, friend. I'm not sure if I know you or not, okay? So if I do know you from the Discord or from anything else, let me know. And if not, and you're new here, then fantastic. Tell me how you found the channel. Welcome to the community. Thanks so much. As we see, TradeSpot very quick in there with his welcome. Oh, and Akatan Zetian. What a great name. Atakan Zetian. My goodness, that's a high scoring Scrabble point name you've got there, Akatan. Good to have you here, by the way, buddy. Hey, what do you think about the graph GRT? G to the RT. Interesting one, that. Yeah, let's go take a look at graph in a second. John M says no. That's me. I think it's dangerous to get. I think it's very dangerous to get into right now. That's TradeSpawn perhaps responding to the GRT thing. Damo says amazing how important it is to tell people to hit the like button. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm sorry. I don't want to be one of those people, but it's important. It's important to tell people, as Damo so rightly identifies there. If you want to see what the current sort of stats are, this page not so great. 33 likes, fantastic. That's good news. We've got 33 likes. It's one of the better performing videos in terms of likes. Let's see if we can get that number to go up even higher. If you haven't hit that button yet, I'd super appreciate it. Let me hide this here. Who was it? What was it? I was just doing this. For Robert Online. Are you still online, Robert Online? And if you are, did you find that to be enlightening? that's how you have to look at things. You have to look at things across the time frames. Okay, as you can see, I think this is a clear example of where you've got a equal high on the 3-day time frame. You've got is it an equal high on the 24-hour time frame? It's a higher high on the 24-hour time frame, right? You've got equal and now there's these dynamics that exist there, which can then be you having identified a reason why something might happen, and of course in that zone, that's where you're talking about enhanced risk, essentially. So if you're able to identify all of this in advance, then it doesn't strike you as too terrifying when these things happen, at the time. And when it's happening at the time, it's so hard to mentally process that. The only way to cope with it really successfully across time is to look at it in advance, so that you can be sober. That's what I call it, sober, in terms of your emotions, and you look at things in the cold light of day, if you like, in advance, and that. So you have to look across the time frames. And that's one of the key skills. Obviously, I talk about key skills as if they're all the most important one. The most important one is relying on yourself. I talk about that one, and that's quite clear. But as a key skill, as a trader, what you've got to be able to do is to actually build out that narrative across the time frames yourself. And that is the narrative across the timeframes right now. Whether or not it turns out to be any of this bullshit with regards to patterns like inverted head and shoulders or anything else, that's just me really delivering a message to you. I mean, having a what do you call it? A carrier oil. If you put in essence of lavender into your thingy, you want to have a carrier oil or whatever all this chat here is a carrier oil to bring across the key messages. And you could just sum up the technical analysis that I do, if I wanted to do it like black box technical analysis, where I just tell you prices and leave all of the actual educational life improving content to the side and just to give you the end results. Then I could say things like, $2.89, risk between $2.89 and $3 is higher. If we get up towards $3 and something like 13 cents, I could happily manage a trade around that zone with risk. I'd rather see it up at about 320, but of course, by that stage you're leaving a bit of profit on the table for that 360 move, which would be your next target after 320, or indeed $3 itself. But of course, between $2.89 and $3 is going to be an increased likelihood of risk. Really, to be honest with you, you've got to look above that 260 area where a previous close was, with regards to those highs there, and ask a bit questions about whether or not we would even see a higher low coming into those points. And then I take advantage of several 10% to 20% moves across the way without being overly greedy, and then leave all of the understanding why that happens to the side. But instead, what I want to do is basically the exact opposite of that. I smashed the like button. Rocky, says Robert Online. Great. By the way, did you find that was of some benefit to you? I hope you did. I'm sure you did. And all that. I'm sure you did. What did I want to look at? Well, I'm going to go back over to the Bitcoin chart for real quick, because I'm going to try and develop a habit of going back to Bitcoin before I look at other coins. I want to do that. It gives the episodes more structure and stuff like that. Ken, we're trying again. This is the 4-hour time frame, of course we are, but we're right up there at the minute, trying again on the 15 minutes. So we had that pullback that we saw in the CMEs and everything else over the last hour. We've gone towards the top side, and we're trying again in there. When I talk about things like the risk at a certain zone, it's worth bearing in mind that the risk in this zone and any move up towards this point here is much less than the risk that exists in this zone with the hope of having to move up to this point here. And that's kind of, quite visible in terms of this chart that we're looking at right now. So how you manage your risk and look at things along certain lines is you're going to have to use your discretion. Okay, now how are you going to do that? How are you going to use your discretion? How's that going to work? Well, you're going to have to develop the skills to be able to have a discretion that is worth relying on. It's 11 p.m. I will hopefully tune out fairly soon, but I will be going over to look at that Grit GRT. What was it called? What was that coin called that somebody said? I know it's performed ridiculously against Bitcoin or whatever. Was it Bitcoin or dollars? I'm pretty sure I could probably find it quickest by going to my Binance USDT list and bringing up this one. Have I got it in here? Sorting about that. GTO, that wasn't it. It was like GRT or something. What is it that we're talking about? GRT? USDT? Oh, it can't be that. I'll have to find it in the thingy. I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember off the top of my head which one it was that somebody that they were talking about. Sorry about this. Can't remember what they were saying. If anybody else remembers, let me know because I've forgotten now. Where is it though? Was it Dom? Was it you? No, it wasn't the president. Was it John? No, it wasn't John. I always forget the graph. Yeah. Thanks, Demo. Graph, right? So it's like, what's this ticker though? The graph. Fuck. There we go. GRT. No, it's GRT, right? GRT. You no. Hey? Is it only? How fucking annoying! How fucking annoying! Bum 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 bum. Yeah, if you know the ticker for that, then just stick it in the box there, and I'll bring it up. I've tried looking for it for a second there, couldn't see it. GRT USDT. Yeah, that's what I thought, right? GRT US, just not there. GRT. What GRTs do we have? Oh, this is not it. Yeah, I mean, there's just this one, but it's the graph route. I mean, there's nothing to be done here on this one. Why is that? It showed up. Yeah. It showed up when you typed the graph. Exactly, it did show up when I typed it, but this is what it was. Uniswap. This one. Oh, is it? It must be against a variety of coins when it's on Uniswap, but we've got nothing here to look at. This is a 15-minute chart, and it goes back like what to 6:45 earlier on. No, 6:30 earlier on. There's all the data I've got, like literally a few hours of data. Well, let's just check out the oscillators on this one. Looking good. MACD MACD's not giving us a lot of information here on this one. What about this? Oops. What about the RSI? Not liking the RSI being in the overbought territory, but it is at least pointing towards the top side, and that's pretty good. It only listed 1 day ago. I'm sorry, my friend. When it comes to coins that only listed 1 day ago, I can't give you technical analysis on it. It just isn't a thing. I know what you're talking about because I've seen it on Binance. Its chart currently looks on Binance something like this was day 1, that was day 2, something like that. It's kind of what it looks like. Maybe it came back down a wee bit today, wouldn't be surprised. The other ones have that are like it. And then if that's the case, then cool. If this could be an easy to manage risk zone, and I would look along the lines of accepting the fact that there isn't really an awful lot to look at, and doing risk risk to reward trades that are along these sorts of lines, because I don't want to be caught in a position where you're in. If people want to talk about price discovery mode as being like when you're in all-time highs, then when it's never been bought or sold before and it's just starting, that's really raw edge price discovery mode. Could be good, but I've got no idea of knowing it. You'd have to look at their value proposition and stuff like that. It's just not. It won't be on TradingView because it's just damn new. Yeah. Over 100%. It's 100% up to date. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's great. It's fantastic. Is there a way that I can get up a Binance page without showing everybody my personal details any more than I already have in this episode? No, not on that. It won't show up in a private window. That crap website, CoinMarketCap. There we go. Oops. CoinMarketCap. What's that one called? The graph. Yeah, just leave. Gert. Up 118%. There's its chart there. Let's do a bit of technical analysis on this one. Looking good. What can I say? Honestly, what type of opinions are you supposed to have about coins like this? I mean, or whatever. I can't honestly say. What shall we do instead? Let's just go check out their website. The Graph. APIs for a vibrant decentralized future. It's got pictures in the background. We've got look at that. It's got like a spotlight feature. Oh, that's some nice CSS or whatever they've used to do that. Where's my here we go. Cool. I know this isn't what you wanted to do, but let's just check out how they made this. Yeah, they've used CSS to do it. Excellent, nice one. They get 10 points from me because they didn't clutter up their website with useless JavaScript. There we go. Price is going to go up another 100% because of that one. I can click on that button as well. I mean, can I? Oh yeah, I can. Avi in here. They've got Avi listed. They've got Synthetics. They've got Uniswap, Decentraland. What's this here? Well, anyway, they've got some big names in a minute. Stick another 100% in there for that. So that's us up 200% already. Website's going a bit slow here. Not so keen on that. Guys, to knock 100. We're only going to go up 100%. Sorry, bit slow. You know, could be doing a bit better. But then again, wait a minute. Oh, look at this. They obviously know what they're doing when it comes to all this crap. So that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That puts it back up again. That's it. It's going up 200%. Going up 200%. At least we're going to 2x our money on this one. Let's see if we can find anything that might bring us up to like a 10x. I like this. I like it. It's very geeky. Docs. Let's look at their docs. See if we see any spelling mistakes or anything like that. Hosted service network. Participate in the network as an indexer, curator, or delegator. Build subgraphs or use existing subgraphs and adapt. What actually is this thing, actually? Sorry, enough piss taken. What actually is this? All the data for your apps. Discover subgraphs by leading projects in the Web3 ecosystem. All this data is immediately available for querying using GraphQL. What data? What data? I mean, like Chainlink does a lot of stuff. What data is it looking for? I guess it was on that Compounds open source thing. Algorithm efficient money making markets on Ethereum blockchain, network, mainnet, blah blah, GitHub, blah blah, playground markets, borrow rate, underlying price, underlying symbol. So is this a competitor to Chainlink in some ways? And it's calling itself the Graph? Is that what it is? How actually do I interact with the playground here? Hitting the button. Let's see it. Give me my, what is this? JSON. Cool. And how much does it cost to actually perform these transactions? It's a really annoying thing about all of these things. It's like if you want to find out how much it actually costs to use Chainlink or whatever else, then you're going to have to go and figure that out somehow when you think it'd be front and center of the thing, how it works. Yeah, cool, but how much graph do I need? Cool. I hate that. Does anybody know in the community out there that's watching currently how you actually go about finding out how much of this, for instance, how much of the graph are you going to need to be able to query their data, and how much it costs and whatever else to do that? Can anybody find that out? That'd be good to know, really. No, it's web-based APIs. Chainlink are oracles on chain. Yeah. Oh, it's web-based API. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, that's a big point that you're making there, Damo. That's good to know, right? Okay, so Chainlink are oracles on the chain, of course, and this is web-based APIs, which means it's much more flimsy in terms of like that insurance idea that we were talking about yesterday in yesterday's episode with regards to using it. So I'd expect it to be a heck of a lot cheaper. Not that I know how much Chainlink actually costs to use their network. Yeah. Try beta.dex.vision. Okay, cool. Because there was that's that sharp. That's that there was that Uniswap.vision as well, so I'm guessing this is a similar sort of setup. Thanks for the tip, by the way. It's not Bitcoin. What am I looking for again? GRT. What do we want to look against? Yeah, USD, I guess. Yeah, USD. Not very liquid. How long have we had it here? So we've had it a bit longer. Number of days since June 20th. Huge. Like, nobody knows what this thing is worth. It's now just got like a bit of PR off the back. I'd expect a huge dump. Probably, but then again, is this it up 100%? What price was it there? 60 up to 108 or cents. It was $18 at some point. I mean, what the fuck? Honestly, no volume. Mental. Is there the chance that this could go up even more? Yeah, there is. There's just zero liquidity in this thing. Those networks that don't advertise how cheap it is to transact aren't cheap. Yeah, that's what I feel like as well. Consumers are encouraged to hold Ethereum, or the stablecoin of their choice in their wallets. Payments will be settled, however, in GRT to ensure a common unit of account across the protocol. Wrapped, so it wraps the. Are you just encouraged to transact very, very, very quickly along the whole XRP idea of, yes, cryptocurrencies are very volatile, but our transactions happen so quickly that it cuts down on the risk that you would have with a fiat transfer across borders, like that type of idea. As in, if I want to send you Ethereum, I'm going to go to send it, and then payments will be served, however, in GRT. So then you get sent GRT. So then you have to ditch it real quick. I don't know. There's an inefficiency there which I'm not a fan of, unless it's kind of along the lines of a DEX, in that I wrap my Ethereum into GRT, send you GRT, and then you kind of get to unwrap the Ethereum at your end because I put my Ethereum on a smart contract. Obviously that I don't know. It's hard to know. Nobody bought it. Bear in mind, this is the daily chart here. It's the daily chart. Nobody bought it. Got listed. Good money to be made yesterday. Well, no, not really. Big money to be lost yesterday. Big dump, big pump. The fact that it's gone up 100% is also as a result of revisiting its all-time lows. Almost revisiting its all-time lows. So you couldn't really be bullish on this. Let's jump on over to Uniswap.vision. I mean, I know that the chart data will essentially be the same, but I want to just see if it is or not. And I'm guessing that it is. Right, weird, it's not on there. Cool, interesting. Wonder what that's all about. Scottish Sniper 93 says, check strong. Small nodes for blockchain verifications down 95%, but burned 95% of supply. Ex EOS devs. EOS devs, eh? So they've got that pedigree of. Got that EOS pedigree. Before we check it, let's just check in with our pal EOS. Must have chosen a shit exchange for that. Oh, must have chosen a shit exchange for that, I thought. Kraken. No surprise. Kraken. Total fucking shit exchange. Kraken, I tell you what. I hate them. Oh, for God's sake. Now that's more like it. Kraken. Fucking idiots. EOS. Ex-EOS develop. What price are we talking about here? We're at $3 at the minute for EOS. There's EOS for us. You know, March lows like everything else. Where's it come since? Well, it's not actually managed to beat its August highs yet. It's a really crap performer, isn't it? EOS, pile of shite. I hate EOS. It's crap. So what was it we were going to look at again? Yeah, we're going to check strong. So this is like that one hard or whatever, in that it's a coin that came out of nowhere. Oh, am I supposed to be looking at this on the DEX, by the way? I guess I'm supposed to be looking at this on DEX. Yes, leave. Strong USD. We'll go with that one. You know, trading's all about following the trend, right? The key to trading is following the trend. for like the 20th key of this episode. There is no trend here, right? We've had a kangaroo market on this one since the 3rd of October. Now, that's okay, but it only came into existence over there on the 8th of August. It pumped, it dumped, it went sideways. I mean, if there's one thing that I can say that ex-EOS developers know more than anything else, like they're experts in crypto, probably. They're experts in code, probably. Experts in blockchain, probably. Experts in dumping their coins on the public, definitely. Guaranteed. Experts in it. What did they do here? Has anybody read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator? They used this one singular volume candle to set things in motion. Well, actually 1, 2, then 3 to set things in motion. Retail came in. Then you have this idea of Wyckoff. As soon as it got to this point here, they dumped it on the market. Oh, look at that. My phone's just run. I use my phone for filming these episodes. It's just died. Interesting. Well, not interesting, but annoying. Right, well, obviously if it's dead, then it's dead. It's obviously telling me that I need to get my act together and tune out of the show. So are we coming into midnight now? Has it been another one of these streams where we are? No, it's 20 past 11, so I don't see that there's much point in me staying on until midnight, probably. Probably not. The contract was minted 5 days ago. 10 billion total tokens, 2.5 billion market cap at 25 cents. Sell. Lols. Any token where there are billions of tokens waiting to sell into the market are a big red flag for me. Not financial, but same. Like, I'm looking at the camera, it's not even there. Likewise, Demo, 100% agree with that. Big red flag for me. I'm going to get rid of the... What do I want to do here? I'll jump over to the final scene. Then the screen. Then we've got the chart full screen. Alright, cool. I can do that. I can hide the next stream thing. So here we are. I'm Rocky Outcrop. I have no face. I have no face. I'm the faceless TA. And the faceless... Or we could do... Hey everybody, my name's Crypto Jab. Peace. Or what do you want to do? What shall we do an impression of? Shall we do Four Flies? Yeah, so what we can see here is that the prices actually went towards the upside, and I think that the prices will keep going up here, but then they went down instead. And if we look at this, actually we can see that there's this thing with the prices, and that if we look at this area, then we look at this area, then we can see the prices went from here to here. Okay, and that's why this is it, isn't it? So yes, at least that's what I get when I watch Four Flies episodes. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Are you talking about? Have you said anything of note? Have you said anything? Actually, yeah. So I just wanted to say there's one really important part of this, and that is that, and my analyst actually did this for me today in the charts. He did this for me, the analyst, and he came in and he drew, and I've got these lines on the charts, yeah, and this is and you trade, and yeah. So yeah, and this is it really for me. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for tuning in and watching Floor Flies. I hope you enjoyed your Floor Flies episode. What else do you want to watch? What other episodes, what other people shall we do? In this episode we are going to be looking at strong USDT. We've got an absolutely amazing opportunity here, guys. We've got an amazing opportunity here for strong USDT. We're looking at the potential for, and you'll not believe this, you'll not believe this, but we're talking about increases of 1,243.62% in the next day. A warning, you absolutely need to know about this right now, guys. If you don't know about this right now, then you are not in crypto, okay? If you don't know about this right now, then you can call then you are fiat. Then you are fiat. What else shall we do from the world of technical analysis? Should we give Crown a bit of a go? Should we give Crown so, EOS has some bad rep, to be honest, says Damo. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe we should do that sometime. We could do like a round of impersonations of different. We could go look up videos of people and then do impersonations of them, which may inspire people to do impersonations of me. That would be bad. Crypto Kirby. Oh my god, Crypto Kirby. Right, for Crypto Kirby I need to get a massive, first off, hold on, let me just get this on the go. Yes, classic, this is what we want. Give me the options. Right, extend lines, yep, sweet. Getting closer, we're almost at Crypto Kirby. Almost, just give me this here. And right, okay, so that's a balloon, obviously. What does he sound like again? He goes, huh, yeah, no, he goes, Don Curbinaccio. That's right. He goes, and he slaps the desk all the time. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are we looking? I can't do his accent. Fuck. Hello. Hello, ladies. I can't do it. I can't do the accent right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are looking at the strong USD price. Let's just rickety-rappity this up like the 10-ton man on a tuna tin can. This has been dropping down, and we're heading into the crypto a bit. I can't do his accent. I have to back off from Crypto Kirby because I can't do his accent right now. And also, I can't help but think of tall. Other than I think he's a little bit odd, just a little bit odd. The Don Curbinaccio, Crypto Kirby clown at the children's birthday party, scaring the shit out of the kids, making them all cry because they didn't get this crypto. He's a good trader. Yeah, I like him. He's pretty good at trader. I just need a bit more practice. That's it, right? That's it, Robert. I just need a bit more practice. He's a good trader. He actually does pretty good TA. I actually think he's pretty decent. It's just that he's like, clearly got split personality disorder or something like that. Probably. I don't know. Maybe not. I think he's probably pretty good. He's actually up there. You've got good traders in the world. You've got Crown and you've got Mitch Ray as the top two. Then you in terms of like knowledge and stuff like that, I suppose. Then you've got, in terms of most effective, as I like to call it, you've got chart champions. And then you've got impossible to watch mad bastard who actually does no TA. That's Crypto Kirby. What else do we have here? There's like, because you could construct a list of decent technical analysts out there, and there's quite a few of them, or whatever, and he's not too bad. Then you've got like complete fakes. You've got like Crypto Jab. The moon, etc. There you go. There's your list of people for watching. So it's for people to have to watch. Oi, I have to protest. Kirby does do TA. Yeah, I did say he does TA. He does TA. He does do TA. He does pretty good TA. He does pretty good TA. He does. I think he's pretty good. Pretty good. Just a cat. He's just mad, you know. And clowns scare people. So he scares the shit out of me. Well, he doesn't really. But he would if I was in the same room as him. God, probably. He's good at risk management. Is he good at risk management? Don't know that. That's cool that he is. I don't know. I feel like I want to take it back. I have to edit out what I said that was negative about Crypto Kirby at the start. It's just his personality I can't stand. Everything else about him is pretty good. Prevents me from watching him on YouTube, mind you. Cool. Okay, sweet. So let's just go back over to the Bitcoin price and see how we're doing with regards to our little pattern on the chart. And we're still within here. Well, if we I mean, this isn't much use to anybody, I suppose, really, but you can see with the shape of this thing and the size of it, if we break out of it, then we've got our two clear areas, 23,789, you know, our last high. That could be another target for us over the weekend. And then the other target towards the downside is probably 21,781, I suppose. Back where this wick took us overall, if you're looking at those two things. But actually, I suppose the measured move off the back of this thing, if you were to go towards the downside, would probably take you down to the sort of 21,200 area that we know all about. And it could even take you up as high as the 24,153, where we'd actually put in higher highs overall. Of course, if we did that over the weekend, they wouldn't show up in the CME chart. Yeah, Don Carbonaccio. I don't know. Take it all back? Yeah, take it all back. I think he's pretty good. Pretty good. Possibly completely crazy in a way. I mean, I'm completely crazy too, am I think I've demonstrated my craziness enough times. Yeah, I take it all back. He's a nice guy. In fact, they're all nice guys. I mean, the ones I said that are are fakies are nice guys. With the possible exception of Crypto Jeb, who seems like, you know, he started off as a nice guy, but he seems like an asshole these days. And by these days, I mean, the last time I watched him was about 2 years ago, so I don't know, whatever. Are we done? Are we done here, ladies and gents? I'm going to have to tune out, I think. We're at 22,950. 23,000 has been a bit of a ball ache for us the last couple of days. We can see that we've actually turned this around and put in a bit of a green candle, I suppose it's worth mentioning in terms of the close for the day. If I go over to the Bitcoin CME charts here, you can see that we had a red candle for the day. So that's a little difference between these two right now. Green day, red day, green day, red day, green day, red day. The two candles look almost the same though, you know, in terms of like their positions. It's just that you've got the over there on Coinbase or on the spot prices, the prices have gone up today. Over there on the CME charts, it was a negative day today. This gives you this feeling of that their potential weakness on the way into the weekend. How did the other ones close out, I suppose, is maybe worth checking, just since we talked about them earlier on. Yeah, still down on that, but how was the end of the day? Yeah, that was the hour that we were looking at when I tuned in for that, so that's how that ended. A little bit stronger at the end of the day, but nothing really, you know, not a good day's trading really over there for that one, or indeed for any of these other markets. What about the Nasdaq? Have I got that on my list here? Because I should. I don't. I like the Nasdaq mini futures in terms of looking at the chart here, which is NQ1 exclamation mark. If anybody wants to know, it's just there. For instance, the E-minis. So yes, look at that. Like, we pushed right the way down. The last 2 hours of the day really salvaged the trading for us. Big volume to push us up there, relatively speaking. Look at how structured the volume is as well. I showed off Forex volume the other day. If you want to look at volume in terms of traditional land stuff, like that's, you know, that sort of thing is interesting to see from time to time. Here's another example. Well, seems like that doesn't work actually, if I'm honest with you. Here's another example of volume just in terms of traditional world stuff. You can see the volume over here is much lower than it was, for instance, over in these periods of time, in this period of relative weakness in the markets. While we're in a bullish trend, you know, and we've got higher highs, higher lows, everything's good, you know, along the way. I mean, yeah, we're bearishly divergent here, but that doesn't necessarily matter. Are we? No, we're not actually. We're just, well, Yeah, we are actually. We're just a little bit bearishly divergent, just a little touch bearishly divergent. You know, it's not great going into the weekend, but it's really going to depend on certain things. I mean, I'm more likely to look for things like news about shocks and like shocks happening over the weekend or the next. Like if some other, I don't know, like if the economy goes to crap yet more officially, or we have companies going bust. Suppose they wouldn't go bust over the weekend, would they? But it does happen. What am I thinking of? Brexit, the Brexit negotiations and stuff like that. If we find some problem with them over the weekend or whatever, that would be interesting. Or if it gets good and we get some sort of happy resolution and positive news comes out on Sunday about that or something, maybe we see a nice open on Monday. I don't really know, don't really care, because I'm not trading traditional markets at the minute right now myself. Well, not trading stonks at the minute myself, so I don't mind too much. Impressions work best when on the BTC chart. Yeah, of course, I have to do that. I should have been on the Bitcoin for that. So pretty much everybody watching will be trading Bitcoin, so it's good to remember to stick it chart when you're having bants. Oh god, yeah, of course, yeah, of course. Thank you to TradeSpot for keeping me, keeping my head screwed on when it comes to that, because I forget so often. And whatever, so thanks to that. Anybody else could do the same. Is this looking more? No, it's not, because it's low. Where's all my drawings? There we go. So possible bull flag on the way into the weekend. If we see resolution to this bull flag in terms of a move towards the top side, then the way that it looks is that we would get a gap on the CMEs if we were to get a resolution to this over the weekend. Just stick on the 24-hour time frame so we can see how that would look on the 24. Yeah, I mean, if we move outside of the zone, because the fake out zones on this thing come in here at that point and that point. We're not fake out. I mean, this would be your textbook. Your fake out zone here. The first one I drew is your fake out zone. This one here, and then this one would be like your textbook measured move. That makes sense. And then this would be the actual measured move off the back of that. Anything above fake out territory on this move over the weekend therefore means that we're coming in with a gap on the CMEs, which might be interesting to see happen. New member, wow, who did that? Matthew Rodriguez has become a member. Cheers, Matthew, fantastic. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, really do appreciate it. That's quality. So this is what we're looking at over the weekend. Can we see this happen? If we see it happen, there'd be a gap. That would be kind of negative for the prices, perhaps, coming into Monday or whatever else. But then again, that's okay. Whatever else is okay. It's just I don't anticipate it massively as happening really overall. But there is the chance of getting resolution to this thing, I suppose. It's only a small short-term pattern, really. When you look at it on the daily time frame, it doesn't really add up to much. You have to go down to the small-term time frames to see anything from it. Meanwhile, if we got a negative resolution to this thing towards the downside, then you can see that you're talking the same. You're talking the same story over here on the CME charts, that any sort of movement towards the downside is going to result in a gap on this one as well. So do we just consolidate over the weekend? That's the question. Will we get a proper bear flag on the go or not? It's hard to know, really. Well, it's not hard to know, it's impossible to know. You never know anything. Like, people who do say they know something are liars. But yeah, let's wonder about this one. For us right now, that would be obviously quite strict, looking at in terms of the fake out. I moved this down to touch the bodies there. That was pointless. I shouldn't have done it. It was just for my own curiosity. Just kind of looking at those wicks in the bodies and thinking that there's been sort of volatility at the top end of it, which is kind of different to the hard trend in markets to the other consolidation phases we've had here in the past, where we didn't have very many wicks coming back down the way. Of course, during that heavy trending move we did, but in terms of the consolidation area, well, actually no, that's not true. Is that true or not true? Well, I don't know. The ratio of wick to body here at the minute has been a little bit kind of funny, giving you that feeling of volatility, but I suppose that's to be expected up in all-time high territory. What flags do as well, for the curious, in terms of the volume profile, speaks for itself. I think it's fairly obvious, is that we now have a bulge here as a result of this consolidation phase. So if we did move up and come back down, like I was intimating with this bit here, then of course, you know, you'd be hoping for this to operate as support, and that makes sense because these are all just analogs for each other. It's all the same thing, but it's just visual representations of the same information we talk about all the time. Anyway, cool. So, yep, wrapping up now. My last comments on the day, I've already said them all, so I'll just jump over to the chat and see if anybody else got things. Matthew, great to have you as an early supporter of the channel. It's really, 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 really great. Thank you. I haven't seen an awful lot of your chat in the chat box there, so I just wonder, have I missed your chat? Because if I have missed your chat, I would like to apologize for that. You know, and by the way as well, feel free to request me to do a coin at some point, to take a look at a particular coin. If you're trading one in particular, let us know what you're thinking along those lines as well. But yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to just then stick up the, oh, by the way, if you did just tune in, my camera broke essentially, so that's why I've gone audio only for now. I'm going to stick on the next stream thingy then, edit it, suppose, and tell everybody that I'll be back on Monday. Can't be bothered putting the date in. It's just, everybody knows Monday's Monday. I aim to be here at 7, but you know, I've done pretty poor when it comes to actually meeting out my time ideas. Whatever, my schedule's been pretty poor. Oh God, I can't even speak. Clearly, it's time to tune out if I can't even speak properly. Let me just kind of line this up a bit nicer. Do we want these? Nah. Make this look like it is something for people over the weekend. Not over the weekend, but cool. So there's some information on the screen for everybody. I think that could be helpful. Hey, Johnny, yo, Rocky, I'd love you to have a scan at Ocean. Cool. Well, I was just seconds, literally seconds. I actually turned around to say well and then say cheerio. So wow, Johnny, you got in there so last second. Ocean USDT, right? That's an assumption that people mean when they say a coin. Really. Nah, you haven't missed anything, Rocky. Had to wrap up work stuff today, so I was a bit disconnected from YouTube. Cool, nice one, man. Thanks so much for... Yeah, I genuinely mean it. People showing support to the channel means an awful lot as well. I think it encourages other people to... I mean, not encourages, but it's like a validation, if you like, of the channel, you know, for other people coming along and stuff like that to see things. Clearly, I've looked at Ocean in the recent past. I've drawn in this Fibonacci. Go to 24-hour time frames. I can actually see what this is about. Was I looking up here for targets up? Oh, wait, or something like that. Can't actually remember what I was doing. I guess this is part of it. As you can see, we're maintaining price action above the 236, sorry, in there at 0.41, so like 41 cents. 41 cents can be a risk management line for you quite clearly. I think in this area it makes sense. If we do go down the way, then are we going to come in for a lower low? Well, looking at this here, you can see that we didn't do the last low with any bullish divergence, so there's that. And what we have here as well at this point, of course, with this RSI being higher than it was previously, is we have hidden bearish divergence on the go. So there is actually some hidden bearish divergence on the go on this one right here at this particular high. Oh, we're seeing there a new member. Who else is a member? Who else did that? RE Pile. RE. Oh, my word. RE, thanks so much. That's fantastic. That's so fantastic. Look at you guys. Look at you. You are awesome. I love you all so much. So yeah, there's some hidden divergence here where we put in a lower high. This is the 24-hour time frame, so this isn't small time stuff, you know. The fact is that we're above the 236, and that's good. It does give us a chance to come in here and put in a higher high. Where we are right now is a rejection from the neutral line on our first pass, which is so often happens, you know. So if we can push on past this point towards the top side, then of course we would be able to ignore that divergence, you know, the hidden divergence, because by the time that we'd done that, we'd be taking out that high over there. And what does that high come in at? It comes in at the 50% line on this particular Fibonacci here, and that is at 48.51. So where did I draw that in from? All-time highs? Yeah, the all-time highs. Let me just put the number one back on here. Sometimes I don't bother with the number one because, you know, but obviously when I've not looked at the chart for a while, I took it in from there. Didn't use the initial wick for some reason. Whatever, that's cool. And I went down to here. What did I do? I used the wick from the... Oh yeah, that's where I did it in. From the wick here on the 11th of November down to our recent high. So that makes a lot of sense. So I understand myself. That's good. Thank God for that. Somebody's got to, right? We're in here at 50%. We can see that's where we've had our highs as well recently. So unless we take out the 50%, key areas are 41 cents, dollar sign 0.41 to 0.48. See, because between these zones, this is the if we don't take out 0.48, then we've got hidden bearish divergence, right? If we take out 41, then the hidden bearish divergence is real. If we take out 48, then it is it was just a rejection of neutral line on first pass. That's kind of the sort of the area that we find ourselves at the minute. What we can see here is that the zero line on this one, in a sense, is kind of like a neckline. I mean, you could have said that this was a shoulder here, and this was your neckline. We just had the measured move off the back of it. So, you know, we've had a medium term reversal, you know, come into play here. Well, not really. That's the logarithmic chart. So, So, you know, we've done that kind of. No, we haven't. We haven't done that. When we broke down here, we didn't do that. So that failed in a way. That wasn't really one of them anyway. You see, you have a head and shoulders after you've had a rally towards the top side, you know, a trend towards the top side. So as you can see here in this area here, that we very much didn't have a trend towards the top side. So like that means that this area here, by sort of definition, literally textbook definition, isn't a head and shoulders, you know. So then we didn't get the measured move at this point. So that's kind of fair enough, like, because it wasn't actually real in the first place. So the 618 would then be your next target. So then your target towards the top side, right? So if you're looking to trade between those areas, then or whatever, you're you know, the next target, profit taken we'll call it PT, happens at what, 52.0.52, and then profit taken also happens towards the downside, coming in here at what would be the most reasonable zone for it? Probably just the easiest way to identify that. Sorry for covering my mouth up when I'm speaking. I shouldn't do that. The easiest way to identify that is to just kind of say here at the 618, but we did that already, so we've kind of done that. Am I looking for a turnaround on this one? I mean, if this wasn't so crap here, then maybe I would. But then, what would you expect after the recent price action? We're positioned nicely. If we can see this, if we break up above 52, or if we break up above 48, and we're going towards that 52, we'll see this get a positive strength of trend, and then I'll be much more happy to look towards the subsequent levels towards the top side and everything else, and that would be good. And the ultimate target at the top is going to be is going to be at that 1618 at 80 cents. But I suppose if we break down the way, then we could look towards the sort of the so-called measured move off the back of that head and shoulders, and that this next inflection point and around about that zone, I suppose, and we'll call it like 32 or something towards the downside would be your profit taken there. 80 cents is going to be a key area for us. I can try and draw on a key. That's not what a key looks like. Okay, so that's our key area in here. If we were to be going on a big trend where you definitely see, not definitely, but almost certainly would see a pullback at that sort of a point there. If we can get it, that would be a nice profit taking target. Actually, any of these areas would be, to be perfectly frank with you. Talking about percentages, it's like crazy stuff. Whatever, you don't need to trade to 100% profit. However, it's on the cards. We are moving up the way. Is there an older chart? There must be. It'll be like Bitfinex or Ocean USDT. For the older chart, Bittrex. Is this what I looked at the other day? Oh yeah. Oh, this is what I looked at the other day as well. This big symmetrical triangle that we're in right now. Oh, that's awesome. And we've found support down here at the bottom end of it and moved towards the top side so far, taking it to 236. Lovely jubbly. So that's cool. So we're at 382 here so far. Movement's back down at 382 negative, and of course, retest of this zone, I'd be very wary of a retest at the bottom of this at this stage, looking into this section here where you're at the apex of the triangle anyway and looking for a breakout. What we came in with the top side target. Oh, I did do a 1618 before, but it took me all the way up to $1 as well off the back of this measure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like this chart a lot better. I looked at the camera again, but I'm not visible. In terms of the small moves, that was everything I analysed first. If you're looking beyond any of that, because let's face it, the top end of this triangle comes in at 54, the lower end of this triangle comes in at 37. So if you're staying between these two zones, and there's a lot to be traded in between, don't forget it. There's a lot to be traded in between in terms of percentage moves. Just looking from where we are up to the top, you're talking about 20% move up towards the top. So there's lots to be had within this. But if we do break out of this either way, that would be quite nice. What does it look like on log? Out of curiosity's sake, just to see how we're trending in general. Because that first chunk is nothing. So there was this extreme wickage here, very whipsawed everybody out. Was that March? Yeah, of course it was, 13th of March. So, but we recovered very well off of it. Obviously there's no liquidity in this thing if you push beyond certain zones, so that's an issue. If we ignore that in a sense, which is bad practice, then downside targets then fit in as well. So yeah, so if we go towards the top side, very, very good. But if we move towards the downside, then you could come down and revisit that line fairly easily. And that would be, that at that point. But oh gosh darn it. So anyway, ultimate profit target could be 150% up from where we are now at $1 something. 130% up from where we are now, whatever it is. Cool, nice one. I'm going to catch in with the chat there. Who was it that asked for that just there as well? Johnny Smith. Johnny, you still here? Johnny, are you still watching? Are you watching along with us? Let me know what you think of what we just looked at. Do we need any more detail? Can't remember which particular episode it was that we did all of this TA on, but it was just in the last few days there. And this remains the case. What I did say and would have said is, God, stop doing that, Rocky. What I did say and would have said at the time is that trading within this range is obviously the sensible thing until such times as we're beyond it in either way. Tentatively we get beyond it when we go to those price targets that I wrote out on the other chart. The other chart there. Evidently not that chart. So yeah, anyway, that's when we start getting towards things. Right, cool, but trading within it. Brilliant video. The impressions are Iron Brew chat was a highlight, but bull flag would be nice. There would be lots of negative signs around to trade with extra caution. That's cool. TradeSpawn evidently wrote that message as I was building up to saying bye-bye. He was like, wrote it in there to be like one of the last messages, and then lo and behold, all this other stuff then suddenly happened. Artie Pyle, thank you so much, by the way, for becoming a member as well, and Matthew Rodriguez. It does. I think it helps other people see the value that we've got here. Really, I really do think that that's a real thing. You know, living in this capitalist world that we live in, for instance. You know, like that people see money speaks. You know, sort of thing or whatever, and that is great for the community. So thanks so much. I really do appreciate it. Guys, Rocky is always telling me about how motivating it is to have this kind of support. Even with plenty of success, he doesn't like to spend on himself. Oh, that's the other thing as well. Yeah, you know, like people do yeah, I don't do stuff like buy myself new clothes and all that. I just don't really. I don't like spending myself. I'd rather give money to charity, to be perfectly honest, than to go out and buy a pair of Ray-Bans, for instance, you know. That's, yeah, it means an awful lot to me, an awful lot to me. So that when people do this sort of thing, I think to myself, right here, I've done enough to have got value. They're not giving enough value to somebody that they feel like giving value back to me. So that I would be dishonoring Phil or, for instance, I'd be, you know, or RT or Matthew or any of these members. I'd be dishonoring, you know, their intentions if I didn't spend a little bit on myself. So that's cool. Phil H says, TradeSpawn, you should do a few more explainer vids. Yeah, I agree with that. I second that one. This is exactly why I joined. There's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and I don't feel like I'm watching cartoons. Oh, brilliant! That's fantastic. Thanks so much. That's. I mean, if I could put a wee blurb on the back of my book, you know, or whatever, like sort of thing. If the, you know, like that you see in the back of books, that would be one of the ones. You know, Artie Pyle, the Huffington Post says exactly why I joined. There's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Don't feel like I'm watching cartoons. Great, nice, lovely. Will do, Phil. Rocky and I have been doing a series on trading psychology that'll be going up soon. Yes, we have. That's cool. If there's anything you'd like to see me do a video on, I'd be happy to do it. That's cool. No, the general is pretty good. Expectation versus odds is a classic. Yeah, it really is. It is a classic. Rocky logs a bit of log. Lol. Rocky loves a bit of log. Brain fried. Man, if you're brain fried and you're 8 hours behind me, it's 10 to midnight where I am, Timo. I've been talking non-stop for the last few hours. God, and all I've had to sustain me is a 3/4 a can of Iron Brew. So, yeah, I think we're all a bit fried. Same, I think I've forgotten how to spell. Yeah, thank you, Rocky, says Artie Pelt. No, thank you, people, thank you. Stitch Fix buys clothes for me. It's awesome. Never go to buy clothes anymore. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I hate going clothes shopping. I hate it. One of my talents as a man is to be able to go out clothes shopping with a woman and be okay with it, you know, or whatever. At least that's what the impression that they get. That, oh, you're so patient and everything else. It's like no. I just kind of switch my brain off and keep telling myself it's okay. Oh, is it doing it? It's breaking. Demo, cheers, nice one. Let's see. So we broke out of our wee triangle, did we? Sweet, awesome. That's cool. I'm glad that we did something at some point. I mean, it's drawing these triangles on the 15-minute thing. Oh yeah, we're just giving it a wee tasty taste just now. Cool. So you draw these things on, and of course the recommendation is clearly to trade within the range. Nice to have you here, Crypto Blue, you're yeah, a few hours, man. Yeah, Crypto Blue, you're a Chelsea fan. Chelsea, oh Chelsea. Welcome to the show. Thanks very much for joining in. Yeah, you can go back and watch it all though. It's all good. I really do appreciate you tuning in. We did a lot of TA in the show. Yeah, it looks like we're trying. You know, we're trying, right? We're trying. Are we going to succeed or not? Are we going to succeed? Obviously, in terms of this tiny wee dinky winky schminky pinky yellow polka dot bikini time frame, you can't see much volume coming in here, but we're looking for the follow through thereafter, as opposed to, you know, this that we've got here for free. Obviously, we were always going to. It's about like what happens next. Oh, we have this nice little push away in terms of which is what you'd expect as well in terms of the DMI. What with this happening just now. We have this sort of, yeah, we have this bearish divergence between, you know, if you're going to be strict about things, and not strict, but if you're going to be super small time frame about things, I mean, if you're going to go down to something like the 1 minute, then what you're looking at is having been in an upward trend from this point, right? And on the way up here, then how have we done? And we're just coming in here at this breakout point with the potential for putting in divergence unless we push on. Can we do it? Can we do it? Oh gosh, we're right there. We're right there. Come on, push on. Come on, push on. Come on, come on, come on. If we want to get past this zone, then of course we've got these areas up above to look out to, and that's clearly, you know, the fake out territory that I was already talking about in terms of, you know, these areas 1 and 2. So we need to see the prices going above 23,287, and then we can think about the higher numbers. At the minute, we're right in here. Yeah, you know, we're breaking out perhaps, but your chart is out of date. My chart's out of date. Am I on the wrong chart? Wait, what are you talking about? Is it? If yours, I'm late. Hey, Bal. Hey, come on, Super Frankie Lampard. Check Coinbase. Coinbase, right? Cool. Okay. Bow. Which one's my Coinbase one? That one's my Coinbase one. Oh, we're a bit high. We are a bit more here on this one. What's the difference in prices? What am I looking at? 21,666, 21,654, 21,50. Where was I before? Oh gosh. 21, 23, 1. What is this? Binance. Binance is also trading slightly lower than the other charts at the minute. So what we have here is Bitfinex trading $20 below the others. As you can see, Bitfinex, you know, and it has done for a while. So in terms of, you know, breakouts and fake outs and everything else, it's all relative and proportional. And then you've got evidently I don't have the Binance one on that list. So yeah, I'm a bit, that's funny, that, isn't it? The difference in price. Obviously at these levels it becomes even more nominal, you know, the difference between the prices, that, like, you know, $30 here is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction compared to $30 when we were back down at like $5,000 or whatever. As you can see, breaking out like Damo says, and it's a bit, I mean, I'm going bodies here and not wicks. On the other chart, I had wicks drawn in, I think. And then you saw me earlier on saying I was just looking at that in terms of the bodies out of curiosity for my own sake. And this is the same thing, you know, if we see the prices, if we see this return back down to the 22,900 level and just put a wick in here, then maybe we see more of the same. This is the weekend though. Welcome to the weekend, ladies and gents. You know, we have the chance to do all sorts of magic here, and none of it's going to register over on this chart, which ended up here. So, like, you know, all of that chat that I had here, whoops, out of date is more than, you know, this one's a couple of hours out of date, whoops, or an hour, I don't know, whatever. It's out of date by a couple of hours, something like that. Over here, pushed on a bit more. Not got that volume coming in yet, you know, yet. Yeah, it's all going to come down. Well, let's wait for 2 minutes anyway and see how the next 15-minute candle starts. I'm seeing 23,106, says Artie Pyle. In terms of 23,000, oh yeah, in terms of the actual price right now. Well, I wonder what chart you're looking at. What exchange are you looking at? What? Obviously there could be a time difference and all the rest of it. Yeah, Binance is backwardized. Can't wait for alt season to start. Got my eyes on a couple right now. Yeah. What are you thinking? What are you thinking in terms of altcoins? Chuck them in there. It's too late. I'm not going to look at them just now, but I'd be interested to know what, if you've got your eye on a couple of altcoins, like, are they ones that we've been talking about, or are they complete left of field ones? It'd be interesting to know. That's cool. That'd be cool to know. Chelsea. I like Chelsea as a girl's name, and all that, as well, as it happens. I like it. I like it all. I like it. I wasn't a massive fan of Chelsea's anti-football Champions League win. It wasn't necessarily in terms of being a neutral, but what are you going to do? Like, they won it. Like, they won it. They definitely, they went out there and they won it. If it was a boxing match, then you just say it was intelligent play, and whatever else. I mean, it was Floyd Mayweather, for instance, in terms of boxers or whatever, essentially plays, in my opinion, anti-boxing. I mean, he's beautiful at times, but he's a massive, was whatever, a massive cheat as well. This is clearly positioned wrongly in terms of this chart. Why is this so bad? What have I done wrong here? Even retested it as well before going on up the way in terms of this 15-minute time frame. Oh, we've got the daily close. I lasted till the daily close in the end anyway. Ladies and gents, the daily close has just happened. As I hear the church bells ringing outside 12 times. So, good day for the prices. You know, that end to the day really pushed up the day's price here compared to, you know, when you look at the candles here that we've got compared to here, you know, very different. And that's all boils down to the very, very end of the day as we enter into weekend zones. So maybe it's a bit more positive than I thought it was in terms of the end of the day, but, you know, whatever. Right now I'm seeing a nice break of a triangle on Cardano on the 4 hour. Interesting. When you were on Binance, you were out of sync with my BTC USD on Binance by like $30. Weird. Don't know what that's all about. Maybe that's a trading view problem, you know? Have a BTC TA, please. What the fuck? Band with sort of inverse head and shoulders on the daily. Yeah. Band is an interesting one, you know. It was almost neck and neck with Chainlink on its big pump up. You know, Chainlink's got a lot more real value to it than Band has in terms of its implementation and its you know, and everything else. It's technology and whatever, but in terms of pure speculation, they were kind of a 2-horse race for a while, and then Chainlink's managed to pull itself back up the way quite a bit, but Band hasn't managed to do that. That's a nifty wee tool, RT. Wait, I have an aggregate counter. It basically takes an average of many exchanges. My computer guy put it together. That's well handy. That's a good idea. Maybe I should do something like that as well. Maybe we'll share the code with each other. What type of code is it you use? I guess it would be some sort of I guess you use it on a you know, you don't use it on TradesBond. You'll have to have, maybe you got your own site for that, or maybe you use it just locally on your computer and it pulls in data from elsewhere or something. I wonder what it is. Have you set it up as a widget or something on your desktop? What did we say? Avi BTC TA, please. Okay, like you know, obviously I'm not staying on here until your dinner time doing this one. So I'm not a massive fan of this low, having taken out that low over there, you know, obviously, and the structure here is not great so far, but, you know, we've recovered well with this V-shaped spike up the way, and we've been in an upward trend, you know, for quite a while now. What we haven't done so far is taken out these highs, and that's not ideal. And we also have bearish divergence here. It's not looking as good as it should look, given the overall market's, I was about to say overall market sentiment there, but that's not necessarily even strictly true. Yeah, so we've got divergence here if you're looking at it from that sense with these guys, you know, so like that's visible on them throughout this sort of phase just now. It wouldn't take an awful lot to beat that back the way. In terms of this as well, like look at this as well. So between these 2 points, we also have a high. So this is a lower high and this is a higher high. Is that the case over here? It's not on this one, but on the MACD it was divergent like that. The DMI it wasn't. So there's just this one. There's three bearish divergence, one case on the way up here, which has always led to this drop down. Or no, it hasn't. There's been these 2 points here. We've got that hidden bearish divergence. So that's to be looked out for. But we also have a low here, you know, not taking this low out here, in fact just coming back down to this area over here would set us up for a consolidation pattern of sorts. If we were to come in here like no lower than that, then what you'd be looking at afterwards would be along some sort of lines. I don't know. No, not go down that rabbit hole just now. Just leave it enough to say that we don't want to see the prices dropping down below 24.0024 overall. Obviously, quite good. We don't want as well, obviously, we don't want to see this developing into a head and shoulders. And would this work as a head and shoulders? Well, unlike the chat that we had earlier on, very much got an upward trend beforehand. Then we have a potential for shoulder, head, shoulder. So like if we just jump over to a 2-day time frame or something like that to kind of smoosh it in a wee bit together. Obviously it's not going to happen given these highs recently here, but we've got that type of idea. The weekly, just, you know, to show it, the weekly is better, right? So we have a head and shoulders on the weekly time frame in these areas. Whoop, and this rough neckline zone here. So if we were to get a move off the back of this, and this would be, and if Avi did this towards the downside, right? If Avi did this towards the downside, Len did this towards the downside, having been such a strong performer recently, I'd be very nervous about other coins. As you can tell here in terms of the logarithmic chart, this puts the price down there at a full minus 0.0225. So obviously it's impossible to get that full measure move off the back of that. This is all in log, so I think I should probably need to look at this in terms of like this one instead. But the point stands, you know, if we were to get a big turnaround here, it takes you down to the minus numbers. It's clearly impossible to do that. So you're never going to get a measure move off the back of this in terms of it being a head and shoulders. There's no way for this pattern. It's impossible for this to be a pattern and play out that way, which hopefully is like the best sort of, you know, that this is giving us the wrong impression. But I don't like this, and this all what the problem with this is this low just here being lower, you know, that's a total bitch. At the same time as us having put in various other divergences along the way. This is obviously against Bitcoin, and like the same as what the chat we had with every other coin throughout the night, yeah, it's not looking great as a breakout in terms of the volume and whatever else as well. Trade spot, and I agree, but you know, I mean, it's it's slow, but it could be happening. It was a run up towards the midnight as we closed. You know, I'm going to have to wait and see how it goes over the next half hour or whatever. What am I trying to say here? Can't remember what I'm trying to say here right now. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, this is against the Bitcoin pairing. So, you know, it's been so strong logarithmically since over here in August, in 2019, you know, very good. In fact, I was tweeting about it for a long time. When have I been tweeting about it? I was tweeting about it in this area over here, telling people, you got to get in on land. Up 1,000% since. Not bad. Now we're up here. Could we see a turnaround of some sort? Well, if we see the prices dropping down that zone there, it's not just on a hard line on this one. It can't be. You know, it really can't. We need to take out that entire zone there for us to look at it like that. Then, of course, we could see a drop down in price, and I'm not going to go too crazy on it in terms of where you'd be looking to. Perhaps we'd be looking for the sort of the logarithmic style head and shoulders. This isn't really actually a thing, but you'd be wanting, how can I get a line that's not going to change with the log? The rectangle work for me here. Carry that and go and take it. Where is it? Come here. No, it doesn't work either. Anyway, right, so you've got, if we were to drop down the way, maybe we'd be looking down to these areas here in terms of support, rather than, like, you know, the actual minus 25 thing. Was that a bit generous? I think that was actually okay where I put that. It's not ideal, but I mean, this is all we've got to operate with, so we just have to take what we've got. Overall, I'd like to see this go towards the top side. I'd like to see this fail as a head and shoulders, which it wants to do 60% at a time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it come in and try down the way again, down towards 0.024. However, if we do go towards the top side, then we'd need to burn away off all of that divergence and whatever else, and it is possible to do it. It's just, it's not like, it's not set up ideally. We know that there's nothing ideal about this, with the result of this lower low and this bearish divergence on the high and the hidden bearish divergence on the way in. So we're not set up ideally, but we're at so much it's all because of the bloody Bitcoin USD pair, and let's be honest. So you'd have to take a look at this. You have to see, right, cool, so we're on the way up here, but we've not taken out that high. Again, this low then at this point here turns out to not be lower. What did we do here in the end? Nice one. Didn't take out the 236, moved towards the top side. Obviously not done charting on this for a wee whiley. Can assume that I've got the lower end incorrectly. Then the 236 comes in at 79.75. Oh, look at that in terms of the 382 working for us, and it's moving us back up the way. And obviously in that sense, oops, sorry. The next target towards the top side, having come up here and already hit off the 1272, and pretty darn close, close enough to the 1414. The next target would be that $102 if we were to go up the way, and that would be enough in terms of a movement. $102 perhaps, with a 10% move, taking out our previous highs, might be enough for us to throw away the shackles of the divergence. It's just, we're at the mercy of other things. Really great analysis, thank you. Oh, thank goodness you thought so. That's good. My head's sore and I'm tired. It's Friday, don't bring yourself out. Bon weekend, that's it. And with that bombshell from Phil H, I'm going to say goodnight. Just before we do tune out though, I'll jump back over to one of these Bitcoin charts that we've got open and take a look at the breakout, which we can see has got a little red guy on there at the minute now then. That's okay though, that's okay. Volume wise, this moving average, why is it so small? I'm never sure how to change the size of this thing. Yeah, we've not got breakout volume coming in, that's for sure, but whatever. This is a 15-minute time frame. We're right there. We got to fake out line 1 kind of in terms of the body closes. Pulling back down the way here, going into this thing would make me look at that high. That low is lower than that one. It is lower. Have I been looking at this wrongly? Have I been looking at this wrongly? Is this what we're dealing with? Is this what we're dealing with instead? Was I wrong throughout the episode to talk about it like this? Was it a descending triangle instead? Either way, it doesn't really matter, because both way rounds, you're looking at this line here is the one that you're looking at the top side. So that's the line you're looking at really anyway, and we're up there, but this is still lower than it was previously. So I wonder. Wonder. I'm gonna leave that on the chart there. Let's hope it's a retest. Cheers for tuning in, everyone. Crypto, by the way, Crypto Blue, my Chelsea supporting friend. Are you subscribed? If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate you tuning in. If you are subscribed, well then, of course, you already know what it's all about here. And thanks for turning up. Let me just do the usual reverse roll call as I say cheerio to everybody. By the way, if you are wondering, for instance, Crypto Blue, will I read the chat? I do. I read the chats after the episode, so I'll go back and I'll read through it and see what sort of things I've missed, because I have missed too much, and I want to see it. But I'll have a quick scan through it later on, so I'll be able to read you saying why you're interested in band and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see with those little pumpamentals that you're talking about. Good word, by the way. So pardon me, Simao, you're welcome. What's it? So you're saying obrigado. What's the other one? What do Portuguese people say? Do they also say de nada? I'm not too sure. good night, my friend. Simao, good night. Of course, it's an hour ahead where you are as well, so you're enjoying the 1:15 in the morning time. I hope you have a lovely weekend, my friend. That's if you're from Portugal. Subbed says Crypto Blue quality. Nice big smiley face on there. That's brilliant. See you when you come back next time. Thank you for joining me, TradeSpawn. It's been a great stream, and you are always a fantastic guy to have around. Everybody loves you, including me. Thanks very much, Crypto Blue, for subbing. It's always good to have everybody, friends here and all that's good stuff. Thanks for joining us. Everybody give Crypto Blue, if you're still here, that is, a welcome in the chat. De nada, right on, bro. Great quality. That's great. Artie Pyle, you are a wonderful human being, having hit that membership button. Thank you so much. And as well, let me, let me also thank Matthew Rodriguez for having done the same thing as well during this show. Thank you so much to Johnny Smith. I never heard back from him as to whether or not that TA was actually useful to him, but let's hope that it was. Maybe he'll watch it some other time. Maybe he just didn't think I was actually going to do it because I said I was about to tune out, but whatever. I wonder. It'd be funny, wouldn't it be funny if Johnny Smith didn't actually watch it, and it was thanks to Johnny Smith I ended up staying on the show for like an extra hour. Whoops. Yeah, cool. Damo, you're a legend. Love you. Great to have you here. And Plan C, my friend Plan C. Great. Robert Online, it was great chatting with you earlier on. Thanks so much if you're still tuned in. I really do appreciate it. Drew's Tech, great to have you here as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. And looking back up the way, who else did we have? Scotty Sniper, you're a legend. Robert Online again there. Nightbot, I suppose, give a wee shout out to my pal Nightbot. Dom Underhill of the President, thanks so much for tuning in again today here as well. Scotty Sniper, you gotta embrace the brown sauce, mate. Sledge, good to have you here, Sledge, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in. And who else do we have? Oh, hi, Magic Internet Money. Don't forget, friends, check out his channel to see what he talks about on his thing. I like his logo, and it's always good to give a shout out to one of my fellow internet Magic Internet Money analysts. Good to have had you here today as well, Richard. If you're still tuned in, thanks so much for joining us. K-Doc, I know you left earlier on, but if you end up tuning back in, then thanks so much for joining us earlier on. It's good to have you. Google user, who is a sub, that was good to have you in the show earlier on. Thanks very much for your chat. Weekend chill stream, good laughing about what we should call it, and various other people. I mean, we've got Shivam, who I actually did TA for today instead of telling him I won't do it. Paul Myrick, good guy. I've talked with him in the comments on YouTube videos before a few times. Really do appreciate it. And and we also have various other people, like, for instance, Francisco Javier Nunez, Talha, who everybody gave a nice warm welcome to earlier on, Monkey Magic, and various other people who tuned in. And if I've missed your name off, then I do apologize, but I've just done a reverse roll call, and now it is time to tune out. Iron Brew, no thank you. No, Iron Brew's good. Well, actually, I suppose it's best with Greece, right? It's for Scottish people. We have the worst diets in the world, so yeah. Iron Brew, no thank you. But that sparkling flavour, exactly, it's sparkling flavour. Is that what they're trying to call it? Sparkling flavoured. Yeah. Sparkling flavoured soft drink. What flavour is Iron Brew? Sparkling. That's the flavour. That's so funny. Good quiz question. Right, okay, love you lots, everybody. I'm going to set the tune out button. I've had this thing up on the screen for the last wee while. In fact, the whole time I've been talking for ages now about when the next stream's coming, so I don't need to leave it on the screen anymore, and I can just say cheerio. So with that, then I drop the mic. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you next time. I'll be back on Monday. Maybe, I didn't hear very many comments from people. If you want me to do a Get Drunk stream over the weekend, I know that Lee Chinnick is probably up for it. If anybody else is up for it, hit me up in the Discord. We'll talk about it then. If not, we'll arrange it for next week or whatever. We'll do it, whatever. It'll be a good laugh. But I'll catch you next time. Much appreciated. See you then.